Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the NCSA Regional Number 2. It is Hunted and Leachy here in the booth with you, and we are actually jumping right on into the game due to all of the delays that we had from the previous broadcast. We are underway with the tournament, so welcome on in. This is round number 2. We are here, map number 5. For extra drama to start things off, it's Air 300, it's Halcyon Blue. The teams have logos in the server, Leachy, which is awesome. And we are underway. Well, yeah, absolutely. This is fantastic. And of course, it's slowdown for us to start the day.
Yeah, you couldn't have asked for a better beginning. Welcome everybody in chat, and yeah, we're here. Let me know if everything sounds half decent. I think it does. We, like Hunted said, we threw ourselves in as quickly as humanly possible so as to not miss any action unnecessarily, and we're getting things going. Like you said, slow down. A favorite of ours due to the last regional that happened here, the epic Air 300 versus Trolla match. Air 300 actually. Part of the team that was involved in that, or part of the group rather, that was involved in that legendary match, and they're going up against Halcyon Blue, and we have yet another blue versus red situation happening right now. Halcyon Blue in the red.
In the red, of course. Of course, wouldn't be the NCSA Regional without a myriad of colors, which I'm sure we will find the rest of the air teams a little bit later on. Right now, we're in a pretty close round number 1 here on Slowdown. We're coming right to the line. Stoke going to try to challenge the ace, not going to get there. So Halcyon Blue, they did win map 4. We jumped in right at the end of this, at the end of Gyroscope, actually. Unfortunately, we missed Gyroscope. But Halcyon Blue was down 2-1 in the series. I don't know exactly what happened before that, but now here they are, sitting on an ace to open up Slowdown. And it is Zimmy and Stoke. We saw them in that epic series on Slowdown, the last day 1 of an NCSA regional. I'm sure they're maybe sweating Slowdown map 5s right now. But Random and Mitch for Halcyon Blue, we didn't get to see them last time around, so it's nice to get to watch them here today.
Yeah, and with that early ace, early lead here on map number 5, round number 1 as well, starting the things off as they mean to go on, as I said the last time. That said, Stokehind and Zimmy fighting their way through, getting to the identity in an ace formation, as QDC likes to say. Let's see how they make it through here. Everybody taking a relatively tidy line through the grass. Nobody making too drastic of a mistake. Zimmy, though, hopping. And Random and Mitch actually wind up overtaking Zimmy, turning it into a draw. It was an ace that slipped out of the hand of Air 300. Unfortunate.
I thought we were going to be tied out of round number 2, but Halcyon Blue keeping their 3-point lead. That's what you got to immediately put behind you if you're Zimmy. Yeah. That hurts, most definitely. But let's see what the response is. Stoke and Zimmy have had a lot of speed on this map. They have certainly had a lot of practice on this map as well, as we, again, got to watch that. How many rounds was it? 15, 16 round epic here on this map last time?
I think it was 17 is the number calling my name. I think it was a 17 round not overtime, but 17 round match. Absolutely insane.
Something crazy. It was definitely an insane matchup, but right now they are looking for the ace here again. They do have the first 2 spots. Mitch is riding in 3rd. He ends up respawning. It's only going to be random, but this time there will be no mistake from an Air 300 player. We are tied. Just took an extra round, a little bit of some drama in between, and it is 4-4. This is map number 5, and all of the day 1 matchups are going to be best of 5s here, Leachy.
It will indeed. So things going a little bit quicker than we're used to if you are a watcher of the Trackmania Grand League or Challenger League, where we're used to all best of 7s here. We need to progress through a butt ton of teams, so we need to speed things up just a little bit. So day 1 is always going to be a best of 5. And it wouldn't be Slowdown without a little bit of drama there through the identity initially for Zimmy 2 rounds ago, but as you said, tying it up eventually. It is 4-4 between these two teams.
Well, since dropping that ace to Halcyon Blue, both Air 300 players have had massive starts in the following 3 rounds, and here's another one right now from them. They are, almost a half second ahead of both players from Halcyon Blue heading into the identity. If an ace lands here for Air 300, this is a tough spot to come back from, and it looks like there will be no mistake yet again. Another ace back-to-back for Air 300. They're one more away from walking away with this map. And again, you talk about mental fortitude after what had happened in those first 2 rounds. It's a wonder that we're even here at this point right now.
It's looking pretty good. It's mostly been aces back and forth, random with that early clip off that left side wall. Zimmy, yet another tap, slightly less severe though, so it's going to be between Stokon and Mitch up front, fighting P1 and P2 respectively. Zimmy and Random falling a little bit further back, although I say that, and Zimmy all of a sudden has reappeared on our screens, fighting it out with Mitch in P2. We'll see if they can make it interesting as we tick along through this run of slowdown.
Yeah, I mean, Mitch has to come through big here. He has to at least split the uprights between both Air 300 players if he wants to continue this fight, and he makes the mistake clipping the checkpoint. And now for Stoke and Zimmy, it's a glide to the finish, and they will be the team who comes out with this victory. It was a close battle. We only really got to see map number 5, but you have to give it up to Halcyon Blue. They battled throughout. I mean, even bringing a team like Air 300 to a map 5 is not an easy feat, but ultimately it will be the Air 300 boys moving on to the next round, at least in the upper bracket. It is a double elimination bracket today.
Very true, yes. And thus ends the shortest round of Trackmania NCSA Regional that you have ever seen on this channel. Hi, everybody. It's our faces.
Yes,
Hunted
hi.
over there,
Hello.
Leechy over here, in case you didn't catch our voices or names earlier on. It is us. We jumped in about halfway, not halfway, but in progress throughout the NCSA Regional because TMCL this week was pushed back a little bit. So there we go. Air 300 moving on 10-4 on that final map, taking the series by a 3-2 scoreline. Halcyon Blue falling. I think, is it still double elimination at this point?
It should be, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Well, so the way that it's going to work is we're going to get 4 teams qualify from the upper, 4 teams from the lower bracket, and then we'll have that 8-team bracket tomorrow.
Yes, very true. Sorry, got to jog.
No, it's okay. We like I said, we kind of had to jump in here late due to the delays from CL, and we appreciate everybody coming out and being here. We are going to take just a very brief break. I think the matchups are still getting sorted out for the next round. But when we come back, we will have a full Trackmania matchup for you here in round 3. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You got you baited because we are not into round number 3 because we have some of the most unique Trackmania that you're going to see here on your screens in Trolla, whose match is underway right now against Yep Team. And if you didn't watch last regional, their matches seem to take quite a while, and you'll see why, as it is the combo of Lingo and Buckley going up against Yep Team, Simon and BMQS. And the reason why they take so long is because Lingo is one of the best players in North America. Buckley tries his best. I'll give him that, but most of the time these matches or these rounds end in a draw, and we have a feeling that this is going to happen here again. Trolla is down a map, and they were the team that gave us that incredible slowdown just a couple of weeks ago. So here we are on board. We are joining in progress again because we did want to bring you some Trackmania action instead of waiting for round number 3.
Yep Team going up against the aforementioned Trolla. Yep Team were top 8 in the last regional, so they probably expect to make it relatively far in regional number 2 for NCSA, and they need to overcome the fortress that is Trolla, comprised of the one and only Lingo and Buckley. Lingo representing himself with his actual username this regional, this time around. We don't need to call him Sussy.
You call him a fortress, but that's like having like the castle is made out of pure steel. Just can't break through it, and the guards are armed with a stick surrounding it. We'll see. I mean, this happened. This is the duo that BMQS actually ended up crashing out there. We got to see where Buckley is at. He's still struggling to get through the backwards portion. I'm not sure where BMQS is at. He is going to inch across the finish line. It will be another draw, but that's kind of the strategy here for Trolla, right? Is to have Lingo run a 57 flat just about on this track, and then hope for a mistake and for Buckley to have a good round to get that point or two in your favor.
Easier said than done. Simon and BMQS. Oh, Simon flipping out, hitting that penalty snow as well. So this is going to be, I feel like we're going to be saying this relatively often throughout the course of this series, but it is going to be Lingo against BMQS. BMQS with the relatively tall bug slide there, so losing out on a little bit of speed and slamming into the ice. That should leave Lingo very, very clear in the lead, and it sure will. From 2/10 down to, what is this? Haven't even crossed the checkpoint yet. Simon now over. Oh, that is going to be drastic. Yeah, 8.5 seconds down and climbing.
Yeah, but if you look at the live rankings right now, Buckley's in third. He's got about a 3-second lead on BMQS, who had trouble on the respawn. He got stuck on the checkpoint, and now he's going to try to track him down into the reverse zone. Buckley just needs to keep it on the track. He really doesn't even need to be that fast. Needs to avoid the obstacles. He ends up clipping that one. There goes BMQS. But can he hold on through the finish? He will. We have another draw. And Buckley that close to breaking the tie. Unfortunately, can't quite get it done. It's 5-5.
I feel like most often the performances between the two teams really comes down to the performance that Buckley is able to put in, because it's the same thing going back to the match with Air 300 versus Trolla, is that you kind of have a pretty set hierarchy between all three players. It's likely to be Lingo on top, then BMQS P2, and then Simon, as long as he can keep himself together, is going to be P3. So it's whether or not either Simon makes a mistake or Buckley has like a heater of a run and is able to pass Simon and then very, very slowly kind of edge out some kind of an advantage. As it stands right now, Buckley yet again in P3, although an awkward turnaround through that super turbo. Let's see if he's able to maintain momentum, and he slides off into the water. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, Simon Was running fourth for a while there, but he will retake position. He will cross the line. BMQS giving Lingo a decent go at it this time, but still just about almost a second behind. And it will be 6-6 heading into the next round. And, I'll say this, memes aside, as much as we love to lean into it, right? It's interesting because, Buckley as a player in general is not a bad player, right? Like, you don't.
Oh, of course not.
He's not, he's for the average skill in Trackmania, especially with all the new players coming in. Buckley, I would say, is an above-average player, but it just goes to show how good the players are that play in these events and how difficult these maps are, that even an above-average player can struggle to keep up with some of the best. But right now, I did see it was BMQS who had a pretty terrible accident, and right now, Buckley does have, almost a 6-second advantage over BMQS. He might be able to turn this into a victory. He ends up tapping that wall, and again, he's going to struggle transitioning to the backwards part of this track, but he does still have a decent lead right here. This could determine the map if he can keep it together. Much better line this time, and he is going to go up through to the finish. There it is. The mistake that Trolla was waiting for, they get it. And now they will have a point lead, and now if you're Yep Team, you have to beat Lingo here.
That's the thing, is Yep Team are still on they're still on match point. Trolla needs, a draw is fine, I guess, but to put this away and head to match, or to what is that? To track 5, map 5, easy for me to say. They need a victory, and Buckley, that means for Buckley securing yet another P3. And, job might be possible here, as we saw Simon head to the moon off of that ramp off to the side of the CP. Let's see if it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, this could be it. This could be map 5. An ace for Yep Team definitely, secures the match, but with Simon, that huge mistake, Buckley has so much time between him and Simon that, again, he can kind of save this. Again, just a little bit slow on the transition. Oh, he ends up sliding off. Simon's right with him now. Double respawn for Buckley, but again, he goes off the lip, and that's going to potentially save Yep Team here in this matchup. But it's still not enough. I mean, it's still a draw. It's still 1 point away, and now Lingo has to be beaten in this next round.
Oh boy. And this is the kind of pressure that you could put on yourself if you make all of these small mistakes here and there. Simon and BMQS, if they're just able to get their act together a little bit more, then I think this map would have been a done deal. But as it stands, run after run, it has been a mistake from either or of these two Yep Team teammates, and I think they're paying for it.
Well, we saw Lingo go way wide on that dirt section early on. He ends up with a very good ice transition there off the jump. He retakes the lead. BMQS, though, isn't too far behind. He did have a little bit of trouble transitioning out of the ice. He is still only a half-second behind. If Lingo makes a mistake here, this could do it, but if he is able to cross the line in the lead, that will close things down, as he does cross first, and that will most certainly put Trolla through to the to map number 5. We are going to do it one more time. I don't know which map it's going to be. If it's slow down, we might be here for a while.
I'm gonna freak out if it's slow down again. Oh my god!
And every single other NCS player, NCSA player, is probably a little annoyed that we're going to map 5 right now.
Let's see. Chat, if you can catch it faster than I can based on the opening cinematic. It is reps.
It's reps.
It is reps. Okay. All right. I'm not complaining. It's been a while since I've seen a good map of reps on the easy mode. My favorite mode of these maps. So I'm here for it. 5 seconds of warm up. Let's dive into this.
Yeah, interesting track. And I don't know. We haven't watched Lingo on this track, right? I don't know. I would say that this track is definitely easier to make a mistake that can lose you the round than back and forth, in my opinion, right? At least for a player like Lingo, you know, the identity on the last map that we were playing, he's not going to make that mistake in the identity typically ever. But here, Reps is not an easy identity by any stretch. So, you know, again, it comes down to, can you beat Lingo here if you are a Yep team? And right now, BMQS with a little bit of a lead to kick things off in round number 1. I say that, though, and Lingo has a little bit better exit speed, a little bit more speed through the corners as we come to the drift, into the long dirt downhill, through the loop, and we are going to come up to this identity for the first time. We'll see how Lingo decides to handle it, as both Simon and BMQS are right on his tail, so Lingo has to be pretty good here, or it could turn into an ace quite quickly. Here we go into the identity. Oh, BMQS, a little bit of a tap. Lingo will take it through, and he looks very confident on it, as we should have a draw for the first round. Buckley ends up falling off. I didn't realize how far back BMQS was. He will cross the line in third, so we do have a draw. But I mean, as much as we talk about Lingo making a mistake, it's just that easy for Yep team to make a mistake as well, and Buckley to potentially pull some points.
Yeah, this entire map is not to be underestimated. Yes, it is the quote-unquote easy version, but I just to touch on something that you were talking about before, you saying that Buckley is still an above-average Trackmania player. I think we're getting kind of the experience that your typical above-average Trackmania player would have versus people like BMQS and people like Lingo, who have the time and the dedication to kind of devote to grinding this stuff day in and day out and push themselves to be better and you know, drive for a hopeful invitation into the All-Stars event, or maybe even a promotion into TMCL, who knows. This really, it's one thing to say like, oh yeah, I could pull this off like in my sleep and grind maps to have decent times, but it's another thing completely to do it in live competition.
Oh, absolutely. As we are through the identity, Lingo. Oh, he's slow. BMQS. Oh, I got him by 3 thousandths. He crosses the line in first. Now Simon looks to come across in third. He does. Buckley just behind, almost pulling that one out for his squad, but he just can't do it. It's a combined, 25 hundredths there that cost them a point, did Trolla. So Yep team now in the driver's seat. All eyes need to be on this duo, Lingo and Buckley, to pull a point back.
Duo Lingo. Sorry, just had to put that out real quick. Things that could have ended very, very differently. I'm surprised that Lingo had it getting that close. Oh, Buckley, not the most ideal line into the dirt. We will pick things up with him a little bit later. Lingo falling behind BMQS in the early stages, only about a tenth or two, but you know, we saw last round come down to 3,000, so 2/10 is nothing to shake a stick at.
I mean, again, you got to look. It's two 1v1s happening right now. Lingo is a couple of tenths behind BMQS as they transition through the grass. That penalty grass, so difficult to manage if you take that wide line, but they both get through it well. BMQS is trying to keep it together, and he does. It's going to be another first place for the Canadian, as Buckley is in third. Now Simon in fourth, but he's not too far behind. He doesn't have the speed, but Buckley clips, and it's going to be Simon again crossing the line in third. It's another point to Yep team, and things very quickly starting to fall out of Trolla's hands.
Man, that was unfortunate. He had, going onto that first bench, Simon jumped and had a little bit of a slowdown compared to Buckley, so the gaps had kind of, they remained stationary for just a second, and then heading on to that second one, just that unfortunate clip on that left side from Buckley gave the P3 to Simon. Unfortunate. 5-3, still time to pull it back, but it's starting to get away from Trolla a little bit. They are relying on the, I don't know if you would call it a strategy, but it's a matter of fact that they were relying on those constant draws and capitalizing on just occasional mistakes from their opponents. But right now it seems to be going the way of their opponents.
I mean, you have to give BMQS credit as well. 2 very good rounds back-to-back, capitalizing on opportunities given to him. And he is right there again with Lingo. Oh, and he's got speed as well. He's going to overtake another round here. Great turn through the identity, and he's going to take 3 first-place finishes, an ace as well for Yep Team, and now everything coming apart. It's definitely looking like a Yep Team victory here. It took them 5 maps, but they only need 2 more points. 2 draws is all it takes for them to move on to the next round in the upper bracket.
Yeah, I'm not sure what else to discuss at this point with Trolla. They kind of need to be perfect. They can't rely on the whole, like, draw strat, because 2 of those and Yep Team takes it. So, and they can't even rely on the victory, because 2 of those and Yep Team takes it. They need to have an ace here, and quite honestly, with the performances we've seen so far, I really don't see that happening. Call me crazy.
I think you speak for all of us. I think Lingo, oh no, he didn't have a mistake there, but BMQS just so fast on this track. This may very well be the final round, though. Buckley does find himself with a 4-second lead over Simon, but again, BMQS just giving Lingo all he can handle up front. I'm imagining this was a Yep Team map pick. Well, actually, it would have been random, right? It would have been the random final map. So
I think so, yeah.
Lingo does get a little bit of a lead over BMQS. He is going to cross in first this time. Buckley trying to hang on. I'm going to see if Simon can make it up. He's got a little bit better of an identity, but Buckley does have enough speed. Oh no, he's too far. They both make the same mistake. There's only 3 seconds left. Buckley clips again, and Simon doesn't get there. What happened? Trolla got 2 points for that, so they do get a point made up. Nobody crossed the line in third. Trolla gets 2. And now maybe it's within reach, but you still need an ace here for the red team.
You don't get this level of entertainment in Grand League or Challenger League. That much is certain. So be thankful that we get the entertainment that we get down to at the regional level, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
9-5, Yep Team. All they need, they can suffer a victory for Trolla, and they will still take this one away. It will really kind of come down to whether BMQS and Simon can kind of hold their resolve here about halfway through the map, and nothing is looking too problematic for them so far.
Oh, I don't know, man. This is Trackmania. We have seen some crazy finishes. And unfortunately, you know, as good as Lingo is, there's no 2.5 recovery for him to make in this one. And it's going to be a mistake. BMQS has all of the daylight in front of him, and he doesn't even need it. Easily done. Crossing the line, 1-2. The Canadian duo of Yep Team moving on in the upper bracket. Lingo, you see there as Buckley overtakes him. Gotta give credit to both players. Gotta give credit to everybody in the lobby. I mean, Yep Team, talk about keeping your heads in the game, man. That's not an easy first round for them to have to take a 5-game. And we had heard too, I believe one of the maps ended like 14-13, something like that.
Whoa.
It's nuts. You know, they had to play a lot of Trackmania in just this one series. Congrats to them on moving on.
GG, Yep Team. Trolla, as we said, it is double elimination, so they are still alive, I do believe, but things looking a little bit more dire for them. Maybe we'll see.
They get to hold up the lower bracket at the very least now.
Yes.
Instead of the upper bracket.
Hold them up. They're having fun. They're doing their best. They're trying to survive just like everybody else. Trolla, yeah. GG, getting knocked down to the lower bracket by a score of 3-2 in the series by Yep Team. 12-5 on reps. That does that. I think we may be headed to a proper break this time.
Yes.
While we wait for the next rounds to be prepared.
Yeah, we are going to take a short break, folks. I promise not to debate you this time. We were waiting on this match to finish. So round number 3 in just a couple of minutes. We'll be back in a few here. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the NCSA Regional number 2. It is round 3, and we finally get to see a pick band. It is a best of 5. It is going to be a pretty sweet matchup in round number 3. It's Damascus Gaming, our current NCSA champions, the number 1 seed coming into this whole tournament, up against Air Green, who placed 4th in the last one and are looking to have a better run this time around. It's Hunted and Leechy in the broadcast booth with you, and it looks like, Leechy, to get things kicked off, we've got reps, we've got back and forth. It's slow down 3, freestyle 4. What do we get for map number 5?
Hoping for gyroscope. I'm a chatter just like everybody else, just begging for gyroscope to. No, they banned it. Come on.
Or right arrow pipes. Arrow pipes is still there.
Sure, still a possibility. I'm gonna say either arrow pipes. Oh, parkour. Oh, okay. All right, fine.
Listen, remake the server. Do it again.
Remake. Nah, both these teams are good enough to make it all the way to map 5. So we'll see what we have. We'll start on reps. So from ending the last match on reps to starting this one as well, it'll be familiar territory at the very least.
Yeah, definitely. And we didn't see much of a weakness when it came to Damascus, right? I think they have a couple of maps they aren't necessarily fans of. I think Flip of Faith, you see it banned out by them. They are the blue team in this, by the way, for anybody looking at this a little bit confused. They did ban out Flip of Faith. I think that's a map they probably want to avoid, which isn't a surprise. I think a lot of teams, we actually saw Damascus on Flip of Faith, and they had a couple of dramatic finishes where players were missing the finish line for whatever reason. We saw that a lot last time. But we aren't going to see Flip of Faith this time. But I do still think it's going to be an uphill battle here for Air Green, right? I mean, Damascus Gaming, they look so solid in that first regional, and they've only had 3 weeks now to get even better.
Yeah. I mean, you could say they've had 3, like Damascus have had 3 weeks to get better. So have Air Green, but then if both teams improve at the same rate, then you're still looking at an uphill battle, I guess. Right. Regardless of whichever way it's leaning.
Now, can I just say I'm as much as we've memed on the Air, what would they be called? A community? They're not an organization. They're a community of players, right?
Hive mind.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy that Air Green is called Air Green because Mello is Jamaican, Mannix is Brazilian. Both of their flags have green in it. It only makes sense for them to be Air Green, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I love support. Perfect. It's just once we get Air Blue versus Air Red on the wrong colors is when things start to get a little.
Don't remind me. We already had a bit of a flashback about that, which was Halcyon Blue that first match that was on the red team. So I was already getting notes of PTSD there.
Well, here we are in map number 1. It does look like Neil and Exotica of Damascus Gaming, the first seeded team and the current champions of the NCSA region, out to an early lead, looking for an early ace. As I thought Nix was going to clip there, but he ends up keeping it on the track. Neil is slow. Mannix is going to catch him. Neil ends up having to respawn. Mello will cross the line in 3rd, and it goes from an ace to a draw to open things up here on reps.
How quickly things can change. Damascus had all 3 points in the bag. It was. I'm trying to find a snappy way of doing like a bird in the hand, word 2 in the bush, like 3 points in hand and. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to figure it out. But it went from 3 points to one for each, and that 3rd point just getting tossed in the garbage. Oh, Neil
who was that?
Flying out to the right. That was unfortunate. And all of a sudden, Mannix and Mello for Air Green storming out into the lead. Let's see if they can hang on to this.
Yeah, this is a big lead for them too. They've both got about a second over the 3rd place Nixotica, although Nix is closing relatively quickly. We'll see if he can make it all the way up to the green players. Through the loop they go. And Mannix and Mello doing a great job of just keeping it together. Again, Nixotica starting to creep forward, but he's just going to run out of space. We're into the identity. This is really where it comes down. Mello, a little bit of a clip. This opens up the door for Nix. He'll pass by, but it's still 2 points for Air Green.
Yet another clip throughout that second portion of the identity. It's very, very rough. I don't know. It's, I mean, this just goes to show that even though these are the easy, quote-unquote, versions of these maps, you really cannot underestimate them. You still need to be as hyper-focused as you've ever been throughout an entire, maybe not an hour. I think the best of 7 is closer to an hour. So, what, 30, 40 minutes of a best of 5 of the Trackmania World Tour format, but it's still, it's no less tiring. You really, really need to be on your A game as Nixotica taps the wall.
Yeah, but how does he kept so much speed through that dirt section. He's not that far behind. I mean, he did have a little bit of a lead, so that does definitely help him out here, but he is not out of the conversation quite yet. Neil with about a 3/10 advantage. Into the grass we go. Taking a bit of a wider line, doing a great job of staying out of that penalty grass as much as possible. Now Nix is going to overtake Mannix. It's going to be a race to the finish. There's a respawn. This could turn into an ace, and it will, just like that. Nix from 4th to 2nd, 3 points on the board for our #1 seed, and Damascus take their first lead of the series.
Punching back and forth from 3-2 to 5-3. No points given to Air Green. This is a best of 5, but this is probably an early sign, Hunted, that you and I will be here a while alongside all of you lovely, beautiful, gorgeous people in chat. And I wouldn't want to spend my Saturday evening any other way. I've been a very busy person lately. Actually, just after this, I'm running over to a friend's house to play a show. We're gonna be playing. I'm gonna be slamming on the drums for like an hour and a half. In the morning, I woke up early to get a haircut, and right in the middle of the day, right after my sandwich, I'm casting some World Tour regionals. What a Saturday!
Yeah, great Saturday, man. It's perfect. And then, you know, we've got more of this tomorrow, Super Bowl Sunday. I mean, it's literally a weekend to remember here in North America. And Damascus going to try to make it back-to-back regional wins. They are looking quite good right now to secure a second ace, and they most certainly will. Pretty much crossing the line hand in hand there. Great time. A 105-1 from Neil. Nixon only a couple of hundredths behind him. It's an ace for Damascus. We're on to track point now. And as good as it looked, as close as it looked for Air Green to open things up, unfortunately, Damascus just doing the Damascus thing where they just suffocate you out of the first couple rounds.
I was gonna say Damascus doing Damascus things. Yeah, it's a wonder what 2 aces will do for your mood, for your body, and overall for your point total and the deficit between you and your opponents. 8-3. 5-3 sounds so much more doable than 8-3. Now Damascus can afford to get aced and still have a 2-point gap in the lead to their to their opponent. So yeah, it's a concerning early development for Air Green, especially there. Who was that? Manus getting caught up about halfway through that loop. Luckily for Air Green, Neil was relatively far back, and the second I say that, Neil, I believe, has overtaken Manic. So Mello trying to fight Nixotica, I don't think it's going to happen this far back.
I mean, now it's going to come down to Neil having to make a mistake. He will keep it on, coasting through the finish. It's actually going to turn into an ace as well.
Wow.
And that will be 3 aces in a row for Damascus Gaming. They are the map #1 victors. It was their map pick, right? I think they had first pick, I believe, being the #1 seed. So we will head into map #2, which is escaping me right now. I forgot to write them down when we were kicking things off, but regardless, I mean, 3 aces there to end map #1. That's a tough tough battle to try to come back from if you're green.
Yeah, dust yourself off. See if you have anything in the tank in back and forth compared to your competitors. But, I mean, when you're going up against a team as storied as Damascus Gaming in terms of their overall experience with all of the World Tour maps, I don't know that Damascus necessarily has a weakness. I'd be interested to hear if you think so. Maybe chat if you guys have witnessed something that Damascus just hasn't really been on top of compared to anybody else. I feel like they're untouchable isn't fair to all the other teams in the regional, but I mean they're the closest to fitting that description in my opinion versus anybody else that's that we're going to see today and tomorrow.
Well, I do think Damascus has a weakness, but that weakness is immediately covered up by the banning system. I do think they struggle on a couple of tracks, but they really can kind of control their own fate. I think they are one of, if not the best team in this regional on a number of different tracks. And obviously that turned into a victory for them last time. They do get a win here to open things up. Mello, great job just edging out Nyx there and holding Damascus to just 2 points. But again, this is Air Green's map pick, back and forth to kick things off for map number 2. So hopefully we'll see them keep it a little bit closer. Hopefully we'll see, you know, a map win or two here for Air Green, and they can really look to push Damascus to their limits. But just based on what we saw the last regional, I mean, even for a team like Air Green who finished in the top 4, Damascus is just so very good. I mean, again, the favorites to be the #1 seed out of NCSA into, you know, the World Tour even, right? I mean, into the All-Star event and everything like that.
Yeah, you know, we talked about uphill battles earlier today, and this is definitely one of those, I think, as well. I mean, you look at that, just Neil and Exotica line astern throughout this identity.
Crazy.
Like you could barely get closer than that. Although I say that, and Neil, something happened. I didn't quite catch it, but all of a sudden losing a ton of speed, and Mannix is able to fly past him. It's still a victory for Damascus, but Air Green are able to claw back a single point out of that. Let's see if that proves crucial as the point total for both teams continues to tick higher and higher.
Well, you caster cursed them, and maybe that was a good thing, as it keeps things a little bit closer. Manic, big mistake there, slamming into the pole through the dirt section. It's going to be on to Mello to try to break up the ace here for Damascus Gaming. The 2 American players, definitely 2 of the top American players. There are a couple that I think you could certainly put against them, but when you combine their powers, you know, Exotica have definitely shown to be some of the fastest in the United States, and right now it's going to be Mello to try to track them down. Needing a mistake through the backward section. Neil's a little bit wide, but he ends up keeping it together, and it just crosses in time to secure the ace for Damascus, and they are on track point now in map number 2.
A little hop off of the banking. The car doesn't quite accelerate the same way, and you lose a little bit of control whenever that happens. So you'll see players steer at the very last second, attempting to maintain ground contact with the tires, and that one didn't quite work out for Neil. At least maintaining contact didn't work out. It barely worked out in terms of the finishing position. 7-2, and Air Green staring at, yet another uphill battle. Damascus could take this one with an ace and go to map 3, threatening a sweep, or maybe Air Green is able to get at least a single point off of this one. Mannix, the respawn there is going to make that job significantly more difficult. Now Mello is the only person in contention to beat someone as fast as Neil.
But he's got to worry about Exotica right on his tail as well. Although Nyx ends up sliding out in the transition there, Mello has a real good opportunity to turn this into a draw. He's got a little bit more speed, but a better line from Neil will secure the victory. 2 points for DG. and they will go up to 9-3. It's going to take more than a miracle, in my opinion, here for Air Green to pull this out. And again, this is their track. This is their map that they selected first overall. Well, second overall, technically, but first for them. And now Damascus could be taking it as easily as they took their own pick, and we'll be heading into map 3 here in just a round is what I would imagine.
I've seen time and time again, Mello has had a little bit of difficulty through that tiny little bug slide section, the wet plastic, where you need to ring the car around as quickly as possible. He doesn't quite have the timing of that slide down compared to everybody else. But that said, there have been mistakes made here and there that allow him to catch up throughout the run. I can't help but wonder what his progress would be like if he was able to keep nose to nose with everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of the whole story, right? Is as who was that slid out? I think it was Nyx, but that was weird. It could have been a little bit of game lag. It looks like he's lagging a little bit here. But it looked like he slid out, but then ended up crossing the line anyway in second place. But either way, it doesn't matter. It was an ace for Damascus Gaming. They do take map number 2. We're going to head to map 3 here in just a moment. But that's, just to go back to your point, that's kind of been the case all series long, right? Air Green is a very good team. Mello and Manix are very, very good players. But when you put them up against Neil and Exotica, there are those slight line errors, there are slight transitional errors that lose you a couple tenths here and there, that it's so hard to make that back up on some of these maps.
And I mean, slowdown is definitely one of them, and you don't see too many mistakes,
right?
Especially in the identity, there are fewer opportunities to claw back any amount of time, because all the leading team needs to do is have a little bit of patience, and that will more often than not get you a positive result at the end of a run on slowdown. So it's not that they're really kind of pushing to go as fast as humanly possible. You actually kind of need to, imagine this, slow down a little bit more than normal, and I feel like the safe strat is more often than not the one that you should go for.
Oh, absolutely, and we'll see how they decide to handle the identity here. Manix doing a good job of keeping himself in the hunt for first, but he will have Nyx crossing the line ahead of him. Neil in third, Mello to round out the group, but it is a 2-point gain for Damascus Gaming. They'll go up 2-1, and again, Air Green, they had that crazy first round of the entire match, right, on that first track. And then from there, I can't think of a time. I mean, they had the first 2 rounds, right? It was a draw and then an ace for Air Green. But since then, have they won a round? I mean, just a win, even. I don't think so.
Good question. I don't think so either, to be quite honest. Which I hate admitting out loud, but it's such is the dominance of the team here. And yeah, it's almost astonishing to kind of come to this realization. But yeah, I think that's the situation they find themselves in.
Yeah. And right now, Damascus into the identity for the ace here. Neil is going to trail Nyxotica. Doesn't matter. They will go 1 and 2 by almost 2 seconds over Manix, and that's going to be 5 points on the board. Damascus looking to close this out in 3 straight matchups here. And again, the winner of this, we didn't really get to touch on it too much, Leechy. The winner of this does qualify for day 2 in the upper bracket. Like in the top side. I mean, really, everybody's in the same. It's a single elimination bracket tomorrow, but you get through the upper bracket of day 1 here with a win in this matchup.
Yes, yeah, as upper seed as well. So the one more advantage for them to keep in mind here. Case, folks in chat have been wondering, the Liquipedia page has successfully been updated, so you can follow along with the day's progress and for what the journeys might look like for any of these teams playing throughout this regional, throughout this entire weekend here. Mannix, hopping a little bit too high, and pretty much handing yet another ace to Damascus. At this point, Damascus can almost, maybe not expect an ace, but it's almost weirder that they don't get multiple aces in a row, because it's happened time and time again. And they're just, it allows them to put away these matches so very quickly. I mean, look at this. They're already on match point. Air Green haven't gotten a single map, and Damascus are a round victory away from sweeping the very capable team of Mello and Mannix.
The top 4 team. Again, they are currently top 4 in the entire region. I guess that technically is not necessarily true, I guess, because ranked gives you points, but I don't think those have been awarded yet. So I do think Air Green is a top 4 team in NCSA right now, and Damascus Gaming just dismantling them right now. As a victory here doesn't even need to be an ace. A victory will close this series and close this map in only a few short rounds, as Nick's looking to overtake. He's going to secure. Oh, he just taps, but it's going to be enough anyway. It is the win for Damascus. It is match win for them as well. GG to DG. They will qualify through the upper bracket. Air Green still certainly in the hunt, but they will have to contend in the lower bracket now.
DG indeed, yeah. Through to day 2, so all those best of 7s, and they do have the upper seed, so technically an advantage when it comes to map banning and picking and all that stuff. So GG, yep. Air Green, they still have a chance, but their journey is elongated just a little bit. Hunted, methinks we have a match to jump into in the middle of all this stuff. We're trying to bring everybody as much Trackmania as humanly possible. I do believe this is going to be the match between Final Form and Halcyon Blue. We're jumping in as quickly as humanly possible. Oh, it's pretty early. It's only 1-1 in the series.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, Halcyon Blue, cheese lover and what, milk enjoyer is what they were going by last last regional. Luckily this time we can see them as Hydro and North. They are going up against a very capable duo of Nova and Yandra here. So Final Form, although I say that, Halcyon Blue under the gun in map number 3, 6-0, back-to-back aces to open.
We saw Hydro and Nova the last time really making it far and really being able to kind of make a name for themselves. But I think, if memory serves me correctly, I think Hydro and Nova were knocked out by Damascus on their way up. So, you know, definitely nothing to be ashamed of. And they did make it very, very far, as North just edges out 300ths of a victory over Nova. Cool. And that is 2 points going the way of Halcyon Blue, but Final Form still very much in the driver's seat with 7 here on map number 3. It's parkour.
Yeah, so for Final Form, they are the other top 4 team, or the other third, fourth placing team from last regional, right? They, as you were correct, they did run into Damascus Gaming in the day 2 semifinals. Did not go well for them, unfortunately, but they are back and battling here. They did qualify at last regional through the upper bracket, like they are trying to do this time around as well. And I don't know who they qualified against. I can look at it real quick. It was actually against Halcyon Blue, funny enough. It was a 3-0 series for them last time. Obviously won't repeat that performance here, but they are looking to take a 2-1 lead in this series. And that's pretty interesting that unfortunately, Hydro does get him. I thought that we were going to finish on an ace. We will have at least one more round. That was crazy finish there from Hydro to keep his team alive. But for Halcyon Dairy, I figured there's probably a little bit of a chip on their shoulder here, wanting to get revenge on Final Form. But you can tell this is definitely a Final Form map pick. They are dominating on parkour right now.
God, 9-3. All they need to do is play for a draw. P2 and 3, and that'll give it to them. Let's see what Halcyon Dairy are able to pull off. North in a relatively nice
Hydro.
lead. Hydro, needing to respawn as well. Unfortunate through the ice, and now, I mean, that kind of, for better or for worse, that's kind of handed Nova and Hondro exactly the situation that they needed. They don't need to push to beat North at this point. They will see in the timing tower that Hydro is about 6 seconds behind them. They don't need to put in the extra effort. Just coast to a draw. That's all you need.
And only one of them needs to make the, it has to be an ace from Halcyon. It's going to turn into an ace for Final Form. Unfortunate there from North. He does cross the finish line. And Hydro will watch the clock erase. Oh, is he going to cross? No, couldn't quite get through, but it is an ace for Final Form, a map number 2 win. Obviously don't know what map 4 is going to be, but it will be a Halcyon map pick. So potentially we see map number 5, and again, things are looking to repeat themselves for Final Form to push themselves into day number 2 through the upper bracket.
Map number 4, it's freestyle. Not one we have yet seen today, but definitely a map that has given plenty of people plenty of trouble, very specifically in the identity. It's all about whether or not you can get that gear through the final drift before you get into the dirt portion of the identity. You get that gear, your job is made significantly easier with the speed that you have going up that wall, just kind of almost grinding. You're effectively wall riding all the way up the side of it. Don't get that gear, and there's a chance that you might need to pull that kind of alley-oop 360 move to get over it, or you just flat out don't have the speed at all, and you have to do a standing respawn, and from there your chances are almost completely shot from pulling out any kind of a positive result.
Well, we'll see how the players contend with the identity here in about, I'd say about 15, 20 seconds or so, depending on how this turn goes. But for Hydro, does have a little bit of a lead. North is going to be battling from the 4th position. He isn't too far back, and he might even be able to find enough speed here to overtake Hondro. There's a mistake from Nova, and it will be Hondro just edging out North to break the ace here, but still a good 2 points for Halcyon Dairy.
That's the exact way they needed to kind of pick themselves up off of the floor, being demolished throughout map number 3. So 2-1, an ace would have made them feel just a little bit more comfortable, obviously, but I'm sure they'll take a victory any day of the week. Now to continue that form, which obviously easier said than done, and I'm going to make a mental note to see which of these teams and which of these players maybe more specifically enjoy taking that outer dirt line. Oh, who clipped there? That was Hydro. So it's going to be very much out of the running. North needs to claw back as many positions as he possibly can.
Yeah, this is looking scary right now. Wait, Nova had to standing respawn. So it is going to be a potential draw situation here as North and Hydro trying to track down Hondro up front. North a little bit more speed, and that's not a great line from Hondro. North isn't going to make it. Where is Hydro? He doesn't quite have the comeback there to make a move. It will end in a draw. That was a curious round all the way around from everybody in the lobby, as Nova's not going to even be able to make it to the finish this time around, but it does end up in a draw. We stay where we were at.
I kind of wish I saw whatever that was. It Nova that had that standing respawn before he even got to that quarter pipe transition. I wonder if on the jump maybe he like clipped the physical CP but didn't cross the CP itself, which meant he had to spawn all the way back there. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's still only a single point deficit, so not too much lost in the long run.
No, I mean, that's the best outcome I think you can ask for if you were Nova Star there. Keeping it close, and Halcyon Blue does still have this point lead. Again, this is their map pick. We may see a map number 5 in this series. I would certainly love to see that. We do have a number of rounds here to go as Nova Star going to lead the pack into the jump into the long downhill, one of the most unique downhills of all of the TMGL maps, or rather the World Tour maps, I should say, as this is going to be Nova Star and North battling it out, and that is a big error from Hydro, but North going to overtake Nova. Nova's still stuck. It's going to be Hydro coming in second there. Hydro will take third, and that's going to be another point over top of Final Form for Halcyon Blue as Nova Star continues to struggle with this identity.
Man, I said it coming into this identity really gives people a lot of trouble, and I think we may have been spectating, I believe it was Nova, on the drift down just before the identity. You could hear drop the gear, so all of a sudden the revs shoot sky high, which means you're in the lower gear, and we saw how much trouble he had throughout the rest of that identity because he didn't have the speed that he needed to clear it confidently. So a little bit of a mess there, but you know, more time spent on the map, the more you're going to get used to the inputs needed to make this stuff work. It's just a shame that the time being spent is, you know, in live competition as opposed to the grinding.
Hey man, that is Trackmania in a nutshell, though.
I guess
it absolutely is. Hydro, he actually takes a pretty high jump there. Did have a lot of speed, but now Hydro and North taking the 1-2 positions. Hydro falling back. North, great transition. And Hunter's going to try to cross backwards. He gets there in time, and now it's a race for third. It's Nova Star to get there ahead of Hydro. And it will be Halcyon still maintaining this 2-point lead as some camaraderie in chat. I don't think you have chat on, so
I do not.
The chat can't see the chat. But asking Handra if he ended up crossing backwards. I've done that a number of times on this track, just out of spite of wanting to finish after making mistakes.
Out of spite, okay. I sympathize with that. A Hydro taking a bit of a slide off the right side of the map. News from elsewhere in the bracket, ladies and gentlemen. 100% Canadians have qualified today, number 2. They beat Air 300 in a 3-0 sweep in a best of 5. So GG 100% Canadians. Air 300 knocked down to that wait, did they? Yeah, knocked down to the lower bracket. So not out of it yet, but once again, like everybody else in the lower bracket, jobs made a little bit harder. North in P3 trying to fight against this potential ace really low, and Handro makes it through. So does North, relatively unscathed. Nova will eventually get it, but not before Hydro crosses the line. So it's a draw yet again, and now all of a sudden Halcyon Blue are on track point. They just need an ace to do it. Easier said than done.
Well, I mean, they were there. That was an ace for Final Form to bring them back into this map. They could have had the point lead heading into this round, but now, as you say, it's an ace to win it for Halcyon Blue, and we will head to map number 5. Again, Nova Star really struggling with this identity. He's been pretty fast elsewhere, but just can't seem to quite finish off these runs. We'll see if he can come through in the clutch. Now is the time to put all of that behind you and get some good runs in. He's going to go a bit wide there. That's going to give North and Hydro both a little bit of room to work with. Hydro is there as well. This is a tight pack through the dirt section up and into the jump. However, North does have a little bit of a lead. He's been pretty good in the identity, looking to be first through the line. Hydra's going to overtake, but he doesn't quite have the exit speed. Going to drop all the way back. Here comes Nova Star. He is up and through. Can he catch up? He won't quite be able to beat North. It is going to be a draw, and Final Form cannot seem to claw these points back.
God, that was such a good round. I mean, everybody got the speed they needed to make it through that identity, and then North just screaming through on that left side. I think it was like what, half a tenth of a gap there. So very, very close. But Halcyon Dairy's opportunity to win this map now becomes a little bit easier. They don't need to be quite as perfect as an ace is. They can afford a P1 and P3. You know, easier said than done, like I've said continuously throughout my entire Trackmania career, casting or playing. But I don't know. It's it's the little advantages sometimes that as long as you can capitalize upon them, then more often than not, I feel like that is what leads you to come away victorious.
Well, something's got to happen here for Final Form. Coming down into the identity, it's Hydra 1, Yandro 2, and that's a mistake. This could be the ace if they can make it through, and they will. They're going to take the lead. Wow. Final Form go up 9-8 in the final moments, and now everything is reverse. It's Halcyon Dairy under the gun to stay alive in the upper bracket.
Well, this changes things a little bit, doesn't it? 8-9, or not 9-8 in favor of Final Form. Wow, okay, Halcyon need to dig a little bit deeper than you're used to digging here. Hydro and North needing a positive result just to take it. Woo, to map 5, somebody hung their wheels out on the outside. I believe that was in fact Nova. Unfortunate, so Halcyon's job is going to be just a little bit easier because of that, but they still are going to have Hondro breathing down their necks. Let's see if he can do it.
Well, Hondro has to split up the ace here. He needs to find P2 at the very least. If he can find P1, they win the map. But Hydro and North wheel to wheel, but Hydro making a mistake on the jump. That's going to give Hondro all the room he needs. Now just needs to hold on. North, he's going to lead the group into the identity. That's a decent identity for both 1 and 2. Where's Hydro? He's on the respawn. And now that's going to be Nova to cross the line, and they've done it. Halcyon Dairy will drop map number 4. It's the draw to win it for Final Form after they were trailing the entire map number 4. They have taken down Halcyon Dairy 10-9, a 3-1 victory, and they have qualified for day 2.
I saw the moment that match was decided as well. It was Hydro. The entry to the dirt section took it a little bit too wide, climbed that dirt wall higher than he should have, earlier than he should have, and then just completely lost the speed and the height that he needed to clear that obstacle. Unfortunate. It felt like they had it in the bag, but Final Form come away with it 3-1 on the series. Halcyon Dairy, yet another team knocked down into the lower bracket.
Yeah, unfortunately, American on American violence here, as Halcyon Dairy will drop into that lower bracket. They are certainly not out. They still have opportunities, but just go back and think of, we joked about it, but Hondro not giving up after a mistake on that identity, finishing backwards instead of respawning, was the difference in this series, right? I mean, it literally was the point that gave them the victory when things are all said and done. It's those little things that you don't think of in the moment, but they turn into such big moments for these players. And again, I think these two teams, even though Final Form is technically now 2-0 against Halcyon Dairy, I think this is a very, very close matchup, and it looks like Halcyon Dairy is getting better as things go on this year.
Undeniably. So from that matchup, we have one more that we're jumping into the middle of. Yes, we're spoon feeding everybody as much Trackmania as humanly possible. It's Air White versus Yep Team, ladies and gentlemen. We are gonna dive in. Air White in the lead in the series and in the lead on what could very well be the final map here. It is parkour. 2-1 in favor of Air White series score and 6-4 in favor of Air White in terms of the map score. So nobody ready to take the victory of this map just yet, but Air White are certainly a little bit closer.
Yeah, we did come into a victory for Yep Team, though. However, there is still quite the battle to be won here. Simon sliding out on the ice section. We are on parkour, so that identity has been relatively solved by most of the players. It is still quite difficult, but Air White, Charles and Nats, our first time seeing them here in this regional. They are poised to ace this round. That would put them 1 point away from qualifying for day 2. I believe this is an upper bracket matchup, as it's going to be Charles and then Nats 1 and 2 across the line. Let me just 100% confirm this is an upper bracket match. It
is indeed.
Is it? Oh, yes, it is. Okay.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's the final upper bracket match that is here. So the winner of this match qualifies to day 2 with a higher seed when it comes to map picking / banning and all that good stuff. And the loser here gets knocked down to the lower bracket, so their day is going to take a little bit longer before they determine their fate. 9-4 in favor of Air White, and currently P1 and P2. Simon has it all to do just to get in front of both Charles and Nats, just at the minimum to get a draw, which will still hand the match to Air White. So quite honestly, it all comes down to BMQS, and now that really isn't going to happen, although I say that. Charles had to respawn just like Simon did, so the order has been shaken up just a little bit. I say that. Nats is over 2.5 seconds in the lead, so maybe not as confident as Yep Team may have been before all the respawn shook out.
Well, here he goes through the identity. Nats crossing the line. P1, Air White. Day number 2 bound in the top of the bracket. They will be one of the top 4 seeds for tomorrow for Yep Team after surviving what was a crazy matchup against Trolla here on our screens not too long ago. Unfortunately, they cannot survive the Nats and Charles duo of Air White. So their day, as you mentioned, will be that much longer. They will have to battle through the lower bracket. And it's very good to see Charles and Nats succeeding here. I don't think they quite had the regional they would have wanted last time around. And now that they are into that top 4, do have quite an opportunity to make a big dent in the armor of a couple teams tomorrow.
Yep, let's see how it goes tomorrow. All being best of 7, it's 4 quarterfinals, 2 semifinals, and then a grand final, as I'm sure many esports enthusiasts probably would have assumed, starting with the quarterfinal. But should be 4 matches on offer for you. So one of the quarterfinals, and then from then on, we will be showing both of the semifinals so that you can get a picture of both sides of the bracket, and then the grand final to wrap the day up for the second NCSA regional. It's going to be a banger tomorrow. It's been a banger so far today, and I'm going to hope for bangers the rest of the evening.
Yeah, we are not done here. Day number 1. The upper bracket is finished. The top 4 teams, Damascus, Air White, 100% Canadians, who we unfortunately did not get a chance to watch. That is Tankrum and Zettins, for anybody unaware. And then Final Form as well. That rounds up your top 4 teams here in the NCSA Regional Day number 1. Congratulations to them. We still have, I guess we would have had at least 1 team eliminated. I think there are 8 more teams, or rather 12 more teams down below, ready to go to battle it out for the final 4 positions. We have more Trackmania coming on your screens here in just a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the NCSA Regional number 2. We are getting ready for our first lower bracket matchup on the day. It's going to be Kentucky Gamers up against Air Aqua, having fun with the players in the lobby as we wait for everybody to join up so we can get this pick and ban going. If you don't know us, it's my name is Hunted. Joining me here is Leechy. We were on board with you for the first regional. We'll be here for today and tomorrow as well. And of course, big thank you to everybody involved. Want to make sure that we do shout out everybody, behind the scenes. It's been a long day, especially, you see SRK in chat. He's been doing a great job behind the scenes for him. I mean, starting the day with CL Leechy and all of the work that goes on there, and then it's I don't even know what time it is for him. It's very late for him, and he's doing fantastic work for us. We appreciate his support through this, but also everybody that's been able to bring this to your screens here today.
Yes, yeah, definitely. A lot of work goes in behind the scenes from SRK and from everybody else. So, GG to everybody doing that work. I think it may or may not be time. It definitely is time for pick and ban. So let us head over to that good old screen. It is oh my God! It is Kentucky Gamers. Sorry for the pause there. Kentucky Gamers versus Air Aqua. So the 3 out of 4 American players. El Pistolo is the only non-American who is from Uruguay, not Argentina, because we're going to continue that thread.
I don't think we have. Now, I will say I have not looked at every player or every team here. I don't believe we have an Argentinian player in this regional. So as long as you just, anytime you see a flag that you might believe is an Argentinian flag, it is not.
Okay, got it.
For anybody watching at home,
I will commit that to memory.
Exactly. So it looks like we got gyroscope pick number 1, and then arrow pipes number 2. Are we just leaning into the meme? Is that what we're doing?
Wow. Okay. Perhaps. I don't even know. Slippy Slide's next, maybe? Oh, wait, no. I think it's Ban's next. Ban reps. Do me a favor. Ban reps. Ban.
No, there's still one more pick.
Is there one more pick?
Air Aqua needs to pick one more. Yeah, reps.
Well, I thought it was 2 bans.
Well, they're going to ban next. Yeah, I mean, map 4 gets picked, and then they ban again, and then it's random.
Okay. Got it. I'm just an idiot. Yeah. Understood. My words, not yours. I'll call myself an idiot. You don't have to. It's okay.
We're at the very minimum. We are going to see gyroscope, arrow pipes, and freestyle in this one specific series. This might be the only time we see all 3 of these maps at all in this regional, which is fantastic.
Smart ban.
There's Slippy Slides.
Smart ban on agility dash. I think if arrow pipes and agility dash were in the same what do you call it? A playlist? The same list of picks. That may be like the hardest list that I could probably come up with, along with freestyle, because I mean we saw how much trouble freestyle gave those two the 2 teams prior. And it's been that way for this whole season of the World Tour, regardless of what tier you're in. Freestyle is not to be underestimated.
Oh, definitely. I think the only map that we're leaving out is Flip of Faith, which I would have liked to have seen.
Flip of Faith is also awesome.
But we still have a lot of Trackmania to play, not just today, but also tomorrow, as we are moments away from getting the lower bracket kicked off here. Only 4 teams can join the 4 already qualified for tomorrow. And right now it is Air Aqua up against Kentucky Gamers. Beautiful screen. Unfortunately, Kentucky Gamers don't have a logo, so we don't get that. We don't get any kind of cool logo on the screen. Instead, we will see Cosmos and Dummy for the first time. And actually, I think this is the first time we've seen Air Aqua as well. We didn't get a chance to watch them in regional number 1, so everybody getting some screen time now.
Yeah, we're here for it. Right on board with the Uruguayan of El Pistolo, rocking that Ice Gang skin. Pistolo and Randomize going up against Cosmos and Dummy, the 3 other Americans in this matchup. Pistolo out to an early lead, in fact, landing on the ice. Oh, very, very sharp angle. Does get the turbo to work his way to kind of send him away from clipping on the outside, but that was definitely close as they head into this big elongated ice section.
Man, I feel like it's been so long since we've seen gyroscope at just about any competitive level in the World Tour, and I'm like relearning the track a little bit while watching this first round. We are going to come up to the identity. I know this identity very, very well. Randomize in the lead, and he makes it work quite well. It looks like it's going to turn into a draw. Actually, both players sliding out. Cosmos will recover in time. It will be a draw. A little bit of extra drama for your liking there. And we kick things off on Gyroscope with a 57-6 from Randomize to start things out.
I want to make a petition to ban the ice slide strat on Gyroscope purely because it's boring and doesn't look as cool. The map is called Gyroscope, and if you do not spin like a top through the identity, I think you should be banned. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Well, yeah, I mean, hey, you're going to have to deal with the backlash of that. I'm just here to watch these players go fast, man. We have a lot of banned, very fast players if we go by your rules. But
yeah,
I will agree.
But the people who are still around would look really cool.
Yeah, well, that's true, and that is more important, I think.
Yeah.
For Trackmania.
See, now you're getting it.
Let's see what the strat is here, Dummy. Oh, Pistolo ends up falling off the outside of the track there. Where's Cosmos? He's going to cross the line in third. And Pistolo, again, struggling a bit with this identity right now. That's 2 rounds in a row that he had a pretty decent position, but just couldn't quite figure it out through that final checkpoint. It's going to be Kentucky Gamers to take an early lead now with that win in round 2.
3-2. See how Air Aqua responds. Was certainly good enough to give Kentucky Gamers a run for their money. God, it's so. I've made so many mistakes throughout just driving that ice loop myself, where you take that initial wall ride a little bit too sharp and then it pitches you out of the loop. Who was that? I think it was Dummy. In fact, all of a sudden, Air Aqua, look at this. This might be an ace as long as they can keep it together, given the fact that Cosmos is over 2 seconds back. Air Aqua actually looking pretty tidy for this.
Yeah, I mean, we have to see if Pistolo can hang on through the identity. He's struggled with it before. Here he goes this time around. He's a little bit wide, but he ends up making it work. Randomized clips, but it's not going to matter. Gets enough of that booster. Cosmos ends up falling off, but ultimately it is going to be an ace for Air Aqua. And one of the things that I didn't really realize about the easy version of this track until that last round, I never thought about it, but that checkpoint in the middle of the identity is probably one of the most forgiving checkpoints in this entire map pool. Because the double respawn, you might kind of, you might be sliding out and you'll have to double respawn. But I mean, it is right there at the end. As long as you cross the checkpoint threshold, you've essentially finished the map.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that you and I have talked about in the past is knowing when it is more strategically beneficial to not just continue, through the trials and tribulations of a completely botched technical attempt,
right,
and just do the double respawn, take the standing start and the speed penalty, because overall it will be less of a time loss. Easier said than done when you're in the heat of competition.
Oh no!
See if Dummy can make this. Oh, he slides out. Cosmos will take the win. Randomized just barely behind there, and Pistolo is eventually working his way downtown. And may not actually finish.
No.
Yeah, bad angle there. Doesn't matter. It's still a victory for Kentucky Gamers. 5-6. Air Aqua still a single point in the lead, but Kentucky able to claw back a little bit of that deficit.
And I'm not sure what the stream got to see there. I was on board with Randomize as he was going into that identity. He had both of the Kentucky Gamers, doing the Spinorama 360 strat, and he had quite an ice slide. I mean, it looked like a movie. Where like the main character, almost like what is it, Fast and Furious? Although I guess an ice slide in Fast and Furious would be kind of cool. But either way, the fact that Randomize is able to pull that off with consistency gives him a pretty big advantage in this identity. And he almost made it work. He caught one player, couldn't quite catch up to the other. We'll see if he's going to do it again here as the pack quite close. Now, wow. Randomize is there trying to turn this into an ace. He doesn't go for the ice slide, and this is going to be super close. It's 1-3 for Air Aqua. They will grab the 2 points, and Kentucky Gamers now in a bit of trouble here, as it is 8-6 and track point for Air Aqua.
GR. That's all I gotta say. Look at that. I mean, the only way it could have been better is if we had all 4, but the fact that we had 3 players right next to each other throughout that identity just makes it's a very good demonstration of how exciting Trackmania Esports can be when everybody kind of gets their act together and is able to put together a run throughout the maps that everybody's theoretically going to be satisfied with, to see how they can make it through this dirt section. No brakes, in case anybody isn't aware. That's that yellow kind of power-up pad, which means they can't pull the brake to get the car to drift. They have to kind of take the NASCAR route of releasing the gas to make sure that they have a favorable trajectory through that series of corners.
Which ultimately means the faster you're going, the harder it is to control yourself through there. And it looks like now, Randomize make a big mistake. This could be the opportunity for Kentucky Gamers, but Pistolo able to clutch it out through the identity. Forget all those rounds where he struggled. That was a beautifully done identity from him this time, bringing the draw and bringing Air Aqua a point away. But the light for Kentucky Gamers at the end of the tunnel here, Leachy, and Ace wins it. We are going to see a victor in this round no matter what happens, but Kentucky Gamers, if they can pull it out, they will steal away map number 1 from Air Aqua.
Mathematically, if you're new to Trackmania Esports, the way the format works, I won't get into the points in general. Wow, what a massive jump. I think that was from Cosmos there. If you ever see a 9-7 scoreboard, it means it is going to end the following round. I did not see what happened there with Randomize, but whatever it was, it resulted in a lead, which is quickly gotten rid of by just the mildest of scrapes there in the wall. Pistolo's gone as well. Could this be the ace that Kentucky Gamers needed?
No way. I mean, they have a second. They have a second and a half just about to Randomize right now. All they need to do, it's over 2 seconds right now. Cosmos and Dummy, they just need to play it safe here on the identity. Cosmos looks good. Dummy looks good as well. They've done it. The ace for Kentucky Gamers, and they will snatch away this map from Air Aqua. It's a 1-0 lead for KG here. Unbelievable. Another photo finish, another crazy dramatic finish here on our broadcast. This is NCSA Trackmania in a nutshell.
Guys, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. Could you get any more cliche than that? I think not. Beautifully done. And that is just map number 1 as we chew through our loading screen here. It's map number 2. I didn't quite... it's Aeropipes. It's Aeropipes.
Yeah. I was going to say,
God.
We know what map this is.
I did. It took me... You know why I didn't want to believe it? Is because we've so infrequently seen this map just at all, let alone the second pick, a voluntary pick from a team. Usually when we see Aeropipes, it's either map 5 or map 7, depending on what the format is, and it's because it was picked randomly by the software that chooses the final map. It is so rare to see it voluntarily chosen by a team. So I hope it goes well. That's all I can say.
Imagine writing things down as a caster. What do you need, an assistant?
Nah.
You need somebody
Actually,
to take
maybe I
notes for
do.
you?
Maybe I do, yes.
Oh, yeah,
Would you be my
SRK's not
assistant?
busy enough. Yeah, no, SRK's not busy enough. We'll just get him to write down all the maps.
Okay, all right.
Maybe SRK can get a map writing assistant. That's all that would be interesting.
Would it? Or would it be the least
I mean, it'd be interesting to
thing ever?
me. It's interesting to me. Nobody else would care. But let's see, Kentucky Gamers, they're on their map pick, their first map, here on Arrow Pipes. Again, we saw gyroscope Arrow Pipes. This is insane that we are seeing these maps back to back, and we are heading into the identity. Dummy will lead the way, and he's able to keep it together, but there goes Pistolo, and he hits the checkpoint, or rather the finish, and he cannot make it. Cosmos, I don't know if you can hear the horn.
I definitely
of Cosmos
can, unfortunately.
as he crosses the line, turtle style, to bring us to a draw. What a crazy first round. There was so much that happened right there to break down Pistolo again. I mean, he had some major speed heading to that finish line, but just a little bit too wide.
Yeah, you can say that again. I mean, it had ridiculous speed through the pipes. Everybody else in front of him had some kind of a slowdown, and Pistolo just flew past everybody. And then, yeah, just like you said, too wide of an exit off of that last pipe and just slamming into that finish arch. Unfortunate. It's 1-1. No big deal, although maybe a little bit of a bigger deal now that he's 2.5 seconds in the rear compared to Dummy, and Kentucky Gamers are looking like they may have an ace on their hands.
It's Arrow Pipes. I'm not.
Yeah,
we
fair.
could very easily see nobody finish this map. Just everybody just DQs. Have we seen anybody DQ? I don't think we have.
Like voluntarily
hold that,
not finish?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm going to hold that thought real quick, because here we are into the identity. Dummy goes wide. Whoa, he keeps it on the track. He's not going to respawn, and randomize not very fast, but solo in first. I told you, there's nothing you can take for granted in this track. Pistolo crosses the line first. Randomize on his back for second. Air Aqua will take the ace. And now Kentucky Gamers, they were looking good, not so good now.
I'm just going to stop making predictions. I said that it was going to be, or not that it was going to be, but that Kentucky Gamers were looking like they had an ace on their hands. Air Aqua screaming past in the midst of mistake after mistake. I at this point, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just along for the ride. It's mostly the fault of Arrow Pipes.
I'm telling you. I mean, you know, I get that our job is to, you know, be wrong a majority of the time with this kind of stuff, but this is Arrow Pipes, man. We don't play this map ever, and it's hard. So I just, you know, it's until the players cross the line. We have seen literally 2 players cross the line in a turtle to start this round, to start this map. That does not happen on just about any other map. And we'll see if it'll happen here. Again, Cosmos has been pretty fast up until the identity. He is going to lead randomized. Dummy has good speed here as well. He might be able to turn this into an ace. That's great through, but Cosmos ends up falling off. Dummy will take the victory. Randomized couldn't get there in time, and now it's a race for third. Pistolo slow. Cosmos will overtake. He ends up hitting the pavement, but it will be enough. And we will have Kentucky Gamers getting a point back. Pistolo will cross the line in fourth. Cosmos 9.999. When have you ever seen that?
Just now. And never
I've
again.
never seen
once.
I've never seen that.
Screenshot.
That was awesome.
Toss that on Twitter.
Greatest moment in Trackmania history right there.
That one right there. Just the fact that he finished 4 nights in a row. Dude, Arrow Pipes is like the definition of a white knuckle ride through any amount of a Trackmania map, specifically or with air pipe specifically through an identity, it is just rip it and ship it. You aim as well as you possibly can, and then you just pray that the pipe landing gods are on your side.
Yeah, well, I mean, you need a little bit more than that. The fact that the second pipe too, even if you land it well, oh dummy, hard into that wall, he's definitely gonna have to respawn, and this could turn into a good round here for Air Aqua. But you know, the second pipe, if you're too far wide, you slam into the pavement, right? And you're just kind of hoping you land in a way that you can recover. As Pistolo, he clips. Cosmos has a great line. That's very well done. He'll take the win. Randomized now. He had to respawn. Dummy ends up keeping it together, and that's exactly what I was saying. If you can hang on, you can make it work, and that is just what he did. Randomize will unfortunately have to settle for fourth, and now Kentucky Gamers, after that ace from Air Aqua only a few rounds ago, they've clawed their way back. It's a 1-point game, but they are running out of track a little bit here on the scoreboard.
I love this map. I get why people don't pick it because it's so difficult to be consistent, but from a neutral,
I love this game, dude. I mean, this map is fantastic. How much drama can we get out of Trackmania? This format is fantastic too for this as well. Oh, Cosmos pop by.
A little bit of an ollie there off of that right side wall. Oh, somebody else slammed into the wall. Who was that? I think it was Randomized. Now Dummy screaming for it into a lead. What's that? Over a second and a half. Randomized clipping the wall yet again. This is a bit of a nightmare round for just about everybody. Dummy, Dummy doesn't even come through unscathed. The second I flip to him, he scrapes against the wall, and now all of a sudden Randomized has a shot of catching up. Needs to be nigh on perfect, though, especially given the fact that it's still a second and a half gap. Let's see if there are any clips from Dummy up front here as we finally get to the identity through one pipe. Oh, the second pipe a little bit low, but manages to kind of clunk his way through it. Oh, just bare. Look at that. Cosmos was screaming up from the rear, still about 2/10 back, but definitely made it close. Pistolo bringing up the rear in fourth, and that will now tie this map up 7-7 between Kentucky Gamers and Air Aqua. An ace could do it for either team.
Man, you know, we need one of those rounds every now and then to remind everyone that this is indeed NCSA Trackmania.
And that was it.
Well, now, after that ace, as I said, Air Aqua have seen their lead vanish. 3 round wins in a row. Cosmos slides out. But Kentucky Gamers have made this map possible yet again. Just a reminder, anybody just joining us, especially, Air Aqua was leading all the way through Gyroscope for the most part, and they get sniped at the end by an ace from Kentucky Gamers to win it. And they are trying to find revenge on Kentucky Gamers' map pick. But right now, Dummy leading Randomized and Pistolo. Randomized tapping the wall there. He is still going to have a little bit of time between him and Cosmos, but it's not going to be a ton. Dummy has been pretty good through the identity. He starts off well. Pistolo doing well as well. Dummy just can't land it correctly. He does cross the line in second. Cosmos will come in third, and we do have a draw. This is extremely important now, Leechy. It's 2 points for either team. A winner wins it on this map.
What do we think? What do we think? Are we going to 9-9? Are we going to overtime on this map? Or do we see either a victory or like an ace in chaotic fashion once we get to the identity? I personally am in favor of the chaotic ace theory.
I will go the traditional caster route, and I will say that we will get whatever the Trackmania gods deem us worthy to get. On this map, it could be literally anything. And we saw Randomized with a mistake there, unfortunately. Pistolo does have a very slight lead, and Dummy is catching him quickly. So as I say that, he's going to fall back just a little bit through the dirt. This is so close. Again, a win and you're done on this track. A draw will bring us ever closer to that threshold. Pistolo is a little bit slow. Dummy's got the speed, but does he have the line? No, he clips. Where's Cosmos? He's too far back. Pistolo, can he hang on? He does. Cosmos is in the air. He's on his back. It's going to be Dummy across. Where's Randomize? He's too far away, but everybody's respawning.
Oh my
Cosmos
God.
and Randomize. It's a race for third. If Randomize makes it, it's done. He's got 3 seconds, and he will. He makes it through. Air Aqua. They will counter the drama from map 1 with drama of their own in map 2, and we are tied going to map 3.
All right, I was half right. There was definitely chaos, but it wasn't an ace. It was just a victory. But thank goodness it was for the team that was disadvantaged point-wise, because now we are guaranteed map number 4. And my goldfish brain is failing me, so I can't remember what it is, but I know that map number 3 is freestyle. So at the very least, it means just a little bit longer spent with you folks at home, you folks in chat. News from elsewhere in the bracket. Halcyon Blue has beaten Dragon's Flare with yet another sweep. That is a 3-0. So I do believe that means Dragon's Flare are done and dusted for the weekend. Halcyon Blue live to fight another round.
And I'm sure we have not gotten our fill of Halcyon teams for this weekend, certainly. I'm sure we will even see them before we are all said and done today, though you never know. This series right now, though, is the one I want to focus on, Leachy, because it has been, I mean, you could not have asked for 2 more dramatic finishes on the first 2 maps. Again, Kentucky Gamers stealing map number 1 from Air Aqua. Map number 2, a little bit closer, but Air Aqua taking the map pick away from Kentucky Gamers. And now, speaking of Kentucky Gamers, here we are in freestyle, and they're going to open with an ace.
Wow.
How clutch was that? That was silky smooth. Through the identity for KG, they got a 3-point lead here on Air Aqua's second map pick.
And I didn't think it was going to go super well either. We were riding on board with Dummy there, and Dummy dropped a gear through that final drift before he got to the identity, but I guess kept it straight enough to where the gear back up wasn't as painful as it could have been. And then just absolute perfection. Cosmos and Dummy making it through the identity with the exact amount of speed they needed. 3-0, a well-deserved ace to start out this map of freestyle.
Will we see teams trading each other's map picks? That would be not what I would have had on my bingo card for today, but also not surprising with how things have kind of shaped up in the NCSA region. I do want to say this. Anybody who is watching and you're having a fun time and you're in North Central or South America and want to compete, this is an open tournament. And there are still plenty of spots that need to be filled for regional number 3. Happens in 3 weeks' time. Get yourself a teammate, get into the action, and Randomize gets sniped. Dummy able to take the victory. That's huge for Kentucky Gamers. They'll go up 4-1. And Randomize not going to be too happy with that. He had a good run all the way through to that identity, but Dummy just a bit too fast.
That was an interesting situation. Somebody having too much speed into the identity, so they went too high, which meant that they got that dirt fling to happen before the curvature of the wall ended, which meant if they were eventually thrown up into the air, they would have been thrown outside the bounds of the track. These are the Giga Brain things that you need to keep in mind when you're competing in Trackmania at this high of a level. And it results now in a 5-1 lead for Kentucky Gamers. They have what I have been taking to call their ace insurance. Air Aqua can get an ace, and Kentucky Gamers will still lead on points. So definitely a favorable position to be in.
You're not going to convince me that any of these players are using their brains. This is just pure brain off racing right now. Muscle memory. As Dummy, he is so fast through that identity. He'll take first again. Randomized, then Pistolo. It's a draw, which only benefits Kentucky gamers at this point. As they go up 6-2. Still 2 rounds away. They still need to secure some points. But this is looking very, very good to take away Air Aqua's map pick yet again.
Hunted, I gotta say, I know you said you wanted to focus on this match. I'm gonna distract from it just temporarily. Just looking at the Liquipedia bracket for the lower bracket for today specifically. Air 300 versus Trolla is a possibility.
Oh, jeez.
Trolla just needs to beat Air Blue, which, you know, it's easier, yet again, easier said than done, but we could have a grudge match here. I'm crossing my fingers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Air 300 might be thinking about that right now.
Probably not.
I feel a little bit bad for them. I know after the oh no, Pistolo goes just a bit too wide. This actually could no. Dummy is very slow. I don't think this respawn is going to be it for him. Pistolo, everybody is struggling here. Cosmos will be the first one through. Dummy makes it just in time to secure the ace, and now with you know, barring any kind of crazy dramatics at the end of this, Kentucky gamers 1 point away from securing map number 3, and we will be heading to map 4 here in just a few moments. I have a feeling. But again, Air Aqua, this was their map pick. They lost the first one in heartbreaking fashion, but this time it almost looked like they weren't necessarily as prepared on this track as they were on Gyroscope.
Yeah, it's surprising. It's not surprising in that a team is beating them on their pick. But what is surprising is that a team is beating them this heavily on their map pick. 9-2 is like, that's no joke. Like you would imagine even if a team is losing on their map pick, if they had prepared properly, maybe it's like a 2 or 3 point deficit. But 7? I mean, that's I don't know. It either there's something in the Kentucky gamers' water, and we need to check them for like, you know,
checking PC.
Oh, Dummy! Oh,
backwards.
He finished backwards! Look at that!
He got
Style points. And Pistolo is going to get P3 as well, but it doesn't matter because Dummy coming across the line in P1 secured that draw. So 10-3 in favor of Kentucky gamers. They will take map number 3. And that is freestyle in the books.
That is, again, I can say it's North American Trackmania because they are both American players. That is the most NA way to finish that map. clip the identity, finish it backwards. Nobody cares. You took P1 anyway. You took the map anyway. And we are here in map number 4. It is Reps, another identity that has given people a lot of trouble to open up this new season. I think I will say this though, Leechy. I think Reps is one of the tracks that we have seen the most improvement on across the whole spectrum of the World Tour as far as the identity goes. Am I wrong about that?
No, I have never thought about it that way. I would have to agree. And touching on that, I would say like the complete inverse of that. I think freestyle has seen the least amount of improvement because we are still seeing copious amounts of the same mistakes being made on freestyle time and time again. Randomized clipping there, so he's going to be out of the running. I think if anything, I think teams need to spend a little bit extra time putting their time into grinding freestyle because freestyle also isn't one of those maps that gets banned so frequently, kind of like arrow pipes and gyroscope do. Like freestyle is relatively often finding itself in the map rotation.
I was gonna say just ban it, forehead. Oh, Cosmos.
Or do that.
Ends up clipping, but he's got so much time. it's going to be an ace for Kentucky Gamers, and now things for Air Aqua looking desperate. I mean, they're a map down. An ace doesn't necessarily mean a map win. We have seen again that you can't count anybody out in this series. But this is not a way to start things out on reps for Air Aqua as Kentucky Gamers. They will take that 3-0 lead.
Real quick, this may be my favorite news from elsewhere in the bracket that I have ever shared.
Okay.
Trolla has beaten Air Blue 3-0. There will be a rematch of Trolla versus Air 300 in round 4 of the lower bracket. My day has been made.
Yeah, we will jump into that match tomorrow morning as they finish map number 1. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I feel a little bit for the Air 300 boys. A little bit of a traumatic experience. I mean, they did win it. Don't get me wrong. Happy with the win, I'm sure.
Barely.
But I don't think they want to have to repeat that performance. Right now, though, their Air brethren in Air Aqua staring down the barrel of another ace. Cosmos able to keep it together, but it clips the inside. That'll give Randomize and Pistola all the space they need to turn this into a draw. Avoid going down 6-0. It will be 4-1 in favor of Kentucky Gamers, but that was the disaster avoided there.
Guy, and that's one of those situations where it's proof that it is just so important to make sure that you are well enough practiced on these maps when it comes to the identities, because especially in that round where I think the entire field was separated by no more than a second, all it takes is a single mistake to completely change the outlook of the points. That was going to be an ace for Kentucky Gamers.
Whoa.
Oh, look at that. Massive mistakes from at least 2 players. Cosmos clipping the right side dummy, went flying out earlier on, and Randomize has to respawn as well. So now it's really just Cosmos chasing down Pistolo in the front, about half a second back, but gaining very, very slightly. Yeah, you have got to have your wits about you. These tracks are no joke.
The only South American in this lobby trying to stave off the hard-charging Cosmos right now. Cosmos making up a good chunk of time into the identity. Great stuff there from Pistolo, able to keep it together. Dummy will cross the line in third. We have yet another draw. And even though Pistolo had a pretty good round there, you can't keep taking draws. You can maybe get away with 1 or 2 more draws if you're Air Aqua. But from there, you have to start winning rounds.
Just ace. Just ace, and then you'll be fine. Just do it. Just press the ace button, and we'll go home happy. Maybe not Kentucky Gamers, but oh, dummy, dear Lord, so close to that outside wall. Not it's very interesting. I don't know if you play the game this way, Hunted, but I find myself hyper fixating on the tiniest of optimizations in parts of the track that seem to really not make that big of a difference, but I don't know. Sure. Maybe that's just a skill issue, Cosmos clipping the left side. Maybe it's just a skill thing where I feel like I can make those optimizations in the easier parts that don't really matter. So those are the parts that I focus on.
Yeah, I play the game by making sure that I don't hit the walls.
Easy.
That's literally my strategy, is to not die and cross the line at some point. It's a simple life. Right now, Dummy trying to make it simple for his team. Again, a great identity from him. Randomize, really well done from him as well, but it's going to be another 2 points for Kentucky Gamers. They have put themselves on match point to eliminate Air Aqua from this tournament, from this regional, in 4 maps. Again, you have to think back to map number 1. Air Aqua on gyroscope were looking so good. It was 9-7. All they needed to do was to not give up the ace. And it was an ace that put the dagger through their hearts in that first map. And now all of a sudden, Kentucky Gamers looking to steal away this series.
Let's see how the rest of this run goes. Randomize. Falling back compared to everybody else. Ooh, he stole a rough line there. Did recover it somewhat, but Dummy and Cosmos in an undeniably advantageous position right now. About 2 to 3 tenths ahead, but Randomize is clawing back a little bit based on his momentum.
I mean, again, an ace will secure this map right now for Kentucky Gamers. They've looked pretty solid through the identity here on reps. Again, this great grass transition, the long downhill here now, and again, the lead will continue to grow. Is this going to be it for the series? A little bit of a mistake from Dummy. Cosmos off the track, Pistolo off the track. Dummy secures P1. Randomize will take P2, and they live to see another round, but now it's all aces or bust here for Air Aqua.
Yeah, it's not technically over, but you need to be pretty much perfect for the rest of this map, like you said, aces or bust. So first ace will take him to 7, which then takes us to the that score line where it is mathematically impossible to continue more than a single round after that. So 9 to 7 will see the end of this map, regardless of whether or not it goes to Kentucky Gamers or Air Aqua. Air Aqua gonna be the team trying to send it to a 9-7 scoreline, but first they need to overtake Cosmos.
2 rounds to decide the winner of this map. Has Air Aqua stacked the deck in their favor? Can they pull the 2 aces required to send us to map 5? Cosmos playing spoiler to that notion right now, but he has both Air Aqua players breathing heavily down his neck right now. It is going to be Cosmos leading the way into the identity. He keeps it together through the first obstacle, keeps it together through the second, and that's going to be it. Cosmos sends his team to the next round. Air Aqua will check out in 4 maps, but quite a fantastic series between both teams. Again, could not have asked for 2 closer finishes for maps 1 and 2, but from there, Kentucky Gamers just running away with the series.
Beautifully done by Cosmos as well. The composure through that final identity section, just to keep it nice, cool, calm, collected. Make sure the aim is right on point, because that is what this identity is all about. It is that precision aim, and Cosmos had it in spades. So well done, Kentucky Gamers. 11 to 5, taking the series 3 to 1 overall. Air Aqua's day comes to a close, and they get knocked out after their match in the lower bracket, round 3 of this regional.
And I don't know, before I jump the gun here, I know that you've got all the insider info. Do we have another series that is currently going on that we will be going into, or are we just about ready for the next round?
I have not seen any messages from our support in the background. So, and usually we get those early on. So I think it's safe to assume we may be headed towards a break here.
Okay. So if that is indeed the case, which it looks like it will be, that was a pretty long series for it to be, only 4 maps.
Yeah.
We are going to take a break. When we come back, there's only 4 teams that can qualify. It is the last chance to qualify, the last rounds here on day number 1. Only 4 more teams will advance. Make sure you keep it right here on the Trackmania channel. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final round of day number 1 here in the NCSA Regional number 2. It is Hunted and Lychee here with you as always to round out the day. And again, these are all qualifying matchups. I'm assuming we're going to jump into as many as we can. We are going to bring you, however, in its entirety, Air Green versus Air Red, a full, I believe, full South American. I don't think there's any Central American players. I believe it is full South America, but it should certainly be a great matchup.
I think it is because whatchamacallit, because Mello is
Jamaican.
Yes, Jamaica. So that's
fair.
Central. So it's not that it's all South. It's that it's no North America.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true.
We're in Pick and Ban, so I'm going to toss this over to Pick and Ban. Let's check it out.
Yes, let's go ahead and jump in. I'm not even in the server, so you're
Look
going
at
to
that.
tell me what we're
I'm faster than
doing.
you. Pick 1 was back and forth. Pick 2 is freestyle. Pick 3 was parkour. Interesting. Gyroscope and agility dash were the 2 bans. We're currently waiting on Raz Grizz from Air Red to pick. See what this one shapes out. Flip. Okay, Flip of Faith. Nice. It's map 4, so we're not guaranteed to see it, but could be entertaining. Slow Down was banned. There's 1 ban left, and Slippy Slides is map number 5. Okay, this is a bit of a shakeup here. We haven't seen Flip of Faith yet today, and we haven't seen Slippy Slides. Hopefully we go the distance. We will have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I do just want to say, just real quickly, I do see questions in chat. The way that the bracket worked, these 2-hour knowledge, is it like, I don't know if it reseeded the team. Something happened. Initially, we thought it was going to be Trolla versus Air 300. That's why we said it on the stream. It changed in going into the next round. I don't know why. We don't know why. But I didn't mean to mislead you. I do think it's Yep Team and Trolla. They already played once today. Yep Team. We actually watched the end of that series, right? It was.
We did, yeah.
So yeah, I again didn't mean to mislead you all in chat. That is what it was for us when we said that. But either way, it doesn't matter. It's Air Green versus Air Red heading into this one, and again, only one of these teams can be the team moving forward into tomorrow, day 2.
Yeah. Long story short, we got debated by Liquipedia not being like.
Well, I don't think
perfect.
it was Liquipedia. I don't want to blame anybody. I don't think there's anybody to blame on that. Like, it's not anybody updating Liquipedia wrong. I think it was just it changed in the back end of the game, which kind of debated everyone.
I was more putting the blame on myself for seeing it on Liquipedia and then just broadcasting it out to everybody else because I was just too excited about the possibility of a grudge match. So I'll hold my hands up on that one.
Well, either way, doesn't matter. What does matter for these 4 players are these this first round of back and forth. Raz Grizz and Henru, first time on our screens. We did see Mannix and Mello earlier on as they faced down the beast that was Damascus Gaming, and they put up a pretty good fight, but ultimately could not overcome as they now find themselves, as continue on here in this lower bracket, find themselves with another chance to qualify, though, here, Lychee, and they're going to look to make the most of it. They did, again, this Air Green team did finish in 3rd, 4th in regional number 1. I think it would be a travesty if we don't see them tomorrow.
I was about to confidently say that we almost certainly will, but this is the final lower bracket match, so there's really nothing confident about that. It could go either way. Look at this. Oh, potential. No, it won't be the early ace because Mello clips that tiny little gap in the road surface in the middle of that reversing section and goes from an ace. It's still a victory for Air Green, but not quite as good as it could have been.
Tough. Well, I wouldn't say it's a tough loss there for Air Green. I mean, it was a win, but tough. Unable to secure the ace. Well done there from Air Red. as Razgriz ends up sliding out in that water section. It's going to be on Henry to try to track down Mannix. I don't know what happened to Mello, but he had to respawn all the way back.
Mello also slid out, so we had 2 slide outs, except it seems like Mello got the short end of the stick there with a 9-second gap now. I mean, Razgriz isn't much better. Oh, and look at that. There's actually an overtake there. I think either somebody made a mistake, or I'm not quite sure, but 2 completely different packs developing now. Henry trying to catch Mannix, but over a second and a half ahead, it'll take a massive mistake from Mannix to make that possible, and that most certainly will not happen. P1 for Mannix, P2 for Henry. And Mello, clipping those pipes, and Razgriz actually, I believe, making the overtake. Yes, that is a draw for Air Red. It's technically a draw for Air Green too, but more of a positive for Air Red because they were staring down the barrel of handing 2 points to their opponents.
Yeah, keeps it at a 3-2 score line now. And Air Red, again, did face off against their teammates here in Air Green earlier on in the upper bracket. I believe that was a straight sweep for the green side. Again, Mannix and Mello. I think Mannix might be one of the only Brazilian players to be playing in our regional here today. That would be interesting. We have the lone Brazilian and lone Jamaican on the same team. I'm actually kind of surprised that we don't see more Brazilian players.
I've seen a lot just in my track of the day lobbies, and they are wicked fast. So yeah, I'm surprised as well.
I think ultimately it just comes down to getting the word out as Air Green now able to cross the line. 1-2. That's going to be an ace. Put them up 6-2 here. And they are looking good to take map number 1 away from Air Red. And interestingly enough, I'm not sure what the seed Air Red would have been coming into this tournament. But Air Green was technically the 9th seeded team coming into today, right? I believe I'm correct on that. Oh, Mannix. Yeah, he's gonna have a double respawn there. Yeah, definitely. Bounced off that plastic, but yeah, I mean, just interesting that I think Air Red is even. Am I right about this? Are they the higher seed, even though they lost to them in the upper bracket?
You are asking the wrong person, my friend.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to rely on production to feed us some more reliable stats. Oh, Mello, sliding, losing a ton of speed. And Henry and Razgriz, all of a sudden, Air Red, this becomes an ace potential. All they need to do is keep it together, and they sure will do just that. Look at that, 3 points out of nowhere. It's, what is that, 6-5, caster math.
Yeah.
6-5.
As quick as you like, it's just about back even again. Trading aces. It looked really good there for Air Green for a moment, but couldn't quite keep it together in that last round. We'll see what Air Red can do to potentially take this map away. Again, maybe playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder as they try to recover from their only loss on the day being at the hands of this Air Green team. However, I believe that was a Razgriz with a bit of an error. He's got to force Henry into a pretty tough spot. He's got to try to catch up to Mello here. Mannix leads the way by about a second back to his teammate as we enter the transition to the backwards driving. Pretty good transition there from Henry, and that's going to be a slide out there from Mello. So now if Mannix makes a mistake, Henry is there to capitalize, but really well done for Mannix. Very sharp line, very clean through that final section. And he will secure the 2 points for his team. It's going to be Air Green 8-6 now, and they will be on track point.
So it was interesting seeing how much each of these teams choose to risk, because especially through that identity, they're just like square road platforms, which means you're faced every once in a while with some open gaps that are just like sharp 90-degree corners, and you can take a bite out of those corners and still be fine. So it comes down to like how much of a bite you take out of those corners to get a shorter line and therefore a faster route towards the finish. And sometimes it works out, and sometimes you take a little bit too big of a bite, and that pops your car into that sliding situation, and there is no coming back from that.
Yeah, it's one of those tougher mechanics to get down on this track. As right now we go into the transition again to the identity. Henry leads the way. Mello able to keep it together this time. Razgriz in a pretty decent position. Mello goes off the track, but Mannix makes a move. He's going to look for the second place snipe over Razgriz, and he finds it. It's going to be 2 points to Air Red, and Air Green stave off that ace. That would have been huge, but they keep themselves in the lead. Still, though, Air Red with an opportunity to tie it with a win here.
Clutch performance there from Mannix. You saw Mello flipping out on the edge, but then Mannix flying past Razgriz. That was huge. It could have been a very, very different story. Massive speed here for Mello in the start, building over a quarter-second lead over Henry. Don't cut in too early there. I saw a couple people sliding out because they clip that snow on the inside, which completely removes the car's ability to lock into that bug slide. So make sure you leave enough of a buffer zone to not get yourself in trouble. Air Green sitting relatively pretty in P1 and P3 for Mannix and Mello, respectively. Let's see how the identity goes for the two of them.
Into the transition. Need to see Air Red. We need to see both players take a position. Henry needs to track down Mannix, and he may not be able to do it. The Brazilian will cross the line in first. That will give his team all the points they need to be the victors here in map number 1. They will continue to be undefeated against their Air teammates here in Air Red as they go 1-0 in the series, but it is still certainly not over as we head into map number 2. Looks like it's going to be freestyle next on the docket. And an opportunity here is, I don't know, did we watch Air Green on freestyle? I think we did, didn't we? And
yes.
They were relatively consistent, but you never know what Air Red can bring to the table here.
Dude, consistency on freestyle is like is a falsehood. I think for any team, for any team, I think outside of TMGL, and even then, the Grand League teams, like a lot of Grand League teams, have the only thing consistent about their performance on freestyle is that they have trouble with the identity. Freestyle really is a relatively tricky map. The rest of the 90%, the meat of the map, if you will, isn't too bad. There are definitely some tricks here and there that can gain you some valuable tenths, but your run well and truly lives or dies by your performance in the identity. And I feel like it's kind of obvious to say that out loud, but the people that grind these maps and are used to watching them week in and week out will know exactly what I'm talking about.
The only consistency is inconsistency.
Yeah.
Let's see what kind of consistency we've got here. Mannix is very slow, and that's going to give Razgriz all the room he needs, but Mello just gets there in time. Well done from him. Mannix still struggling. Henry has not even entered the identity yet, but he's going to get a chance now. Mannix able to cross over Henry with a mistake, but he's going to respawn. Doesn't quite have the time to catch Mannix, and he just crosses the finish ahead. I think they would have gotten the 2 points regardless, as Mello crossed first, but it's a 2-1 lead now for Air Green, and we, again, already see this identity eating these players up.
Man, it's just we see more and more evidence of how many people are having difficulty with this track, and I will, at risk of sounding like a broken record, I'm going to touch on that point from before. I think this map warrants a lot more practice because it's not a map like Gyroscope or Aero Pipes in any other level of the World Tour that you see banned out so very frequently. Somebody clipped that CP. That was unfortunate. The freestyle makes appearances very, very frequently. So with the amount of trouble that we've seen from teams here and there with the identity in freestyle, you think that a couple of them would kind of get the hint and really, really put in a ton of time. Maybe they did put in a ton of time, and this is just, you know, what they're capable of doing. And then in that case, it is what it is. Mannix P1, Henru P2. Razgriz is here, but Mello is, wow, 11 seconds back. He's going to have a lot of difficulty. Oh, wow, okay. Actually, I was with Razgriz the whole time. I couldn't tell where Mello was. All right, Chi-Chi, caught up. That's fair.
Yeah, it was close. Yeah, I think Razgriz ended up having to having to respawn. I think he had a standing respawn, and it really kind of took his momentum away there to make the transition. But ultimately gets it done. We end in a draw. Air Green will keep their 1-point lead, and we will enter round number 3 with a 3-2 scoreline in favor of Air Green. Again, a team trying to replicate their performance from the first regional. They ended 3rd, 4th in that first one. Trying to qualify for day 2 here against their Chilean brothers of Air Red. As Mannix going to lead the pack down into the identity. Mello ends up clipping on the CP. That could slow him down just enough. Mannix realizing he's too low. Henru is going to glide across the transition. Razgriz trying to chase down Mello. Can't quite get there, but they do even the score. It's going to be 4-4 now, heading into the next round.
Another example of how quickly things can change. That went from a victory for Air Green to a victory for Air Red just from a single respawn. Got to make sure you get that speed going into the identity. Make sure you come down off of that massive downhill and that drift right at the end. Make sure you do not drop the gear. It is so crucial. And yeah, we've seen players make it here and there with dropping the gear, and they manage to get the gear up in time to where it doesn't affect them too negatively. But God, your job is made so much easier if you're able to just stay in that upper gear.
Yeah, that is definitely the struggle. Did somebody clip the checkpoint? I think it was. Yeah, Henru. He's going to fall back, and this is a big opportunity right now for Air Green. They're going to be 1 and 2 into the downhill section. They're not too far from each other. Razgriz about a half second back from Mello. Mannix looking decent, but he clips the sign, and it's going to be Mello to take first. Razgriz comes through in second. Henru is still on his way down the downhill, as he is going to not be able to catch anybody here. We'll see if he can just finish the track.
Oh, wow.
As easy as you like there from him, and he will cross the finish line. So it is another 2 points for Air Green, and they are inching closer to taking map number 2.
How well he did the execution of that trick in the identity too. If he pulled that off neck and neck with everybody else, almost certainly that probably would have been almost certainly you know what I mean, would have been a round win. It's just a shame that early mistake. Whoa, took him out so early. Who was that? That was Mannix clipping. I saw that Ferrari skin and then all of a sudden just flying out of there. Unfortunate. So currently a draw formation for both of these teams. Let's see if Henru and Razgriz are able to fight back. Mello very, very strong in his own right.
You know, and this may be an unpopular opinion, but I think the skins that Razgriz and Henru have are very clean. I like the minimalist kind of style that they have. I think it looks quite good. And we'll see if they can utilize their positioning now. Mello, the only player here from Air Green to give them a run, and he's going to cross in first. That's very well done from Mello, holding off Henru as Mannix will cross the line in reverse, as is usual here in this regional. It's 7-6 now. Air Green an ace away from going up to match point.
going to call an ace for Air Red, sending us to 9-7, and then an ace for Air Green to send us to their second map win.
And then the server glitches out, and we continue to play anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And then we just all move on to deep dip, and whoever gets to 4-6 first wins.
4-6, my God. I don't even know if these players have played that track. You know how long that would take? It would be content, that's for sure. Right now, I think for Air Green, I don't think you're necessarily... I mean, obviously you want this ace, but I don't think you're going to push it here if you're mellow. I think you just want to make sure that you can stay consistent. If Henru does risk it a little bit here through the final corner, he's going to take that wide line to get that big speed through the dirt, but I don't know if he's got it. There goes Mannix. He can't make the play. Razgriz will beat everyone to the line from fourth to first. Now it's a race for third. Mannix, he's landed it. He's backwards. Henru just not going to have time to catch up, and it's going to end in a draw after all of that. Air Green 2 points away from map 2.
Okay, not the ace I thought it would be, but definitely still chaos in the end. And all of my predictions regarding stuff like that definitely are related to some degree of chaos. Don't know if I agree with you on the skin front. I personally grew up with racing liveries that are just chock full of both graphical design and also sponsors. So to me, it doesn't look good unless there are like 17 different brand logos slapped all over a car. So this, I guess it's nice from an artistic perspective, but I don't know. To me, it doesn't feel fast unless every inch of it is covered.
I guess it feels more esportsy than anything to me.
Okay.
Looking at it. Here we go, into the identity one more time. Mello is going to lead the way. This is a really good opportunity. Mello has to be clutch right now to avoid a potential ace. Great job from him. It's going to be a draw. Razgriz and Henru were very much hoping for a mistake there. Mannix definitely going to be thanking his teammate for clutching that one out. It keeps them in this map, and it puts them 1 point away from going up 2-0. That was much closer than I think Mello would like to think about. But again, when you're in that moment, I don't think you're thinking about your opponents. You're just trying to make sure that you are as consistent as possible through the identity.
Yeah, I really want to know what team comms sound like in those situations, because undoubtedly, I'm sure you definitely let your teammate know that you have made a mistake, because then it kind of alerts them that they need to change their mentality with how they're approaching the track and make sure that they're even more focused than they may have been coming into that round. But 2 for 2. Oh, Mello. Clips the inside. Unfortunate. Henru now overtakes and just has Mannix in front of him.
Yeah. I mean, this is huge. If Henru can catch Mannix, but that's going to be the big key. He has to win this race, and then you've got to hope for a mistake again from Mello. But Mannix again, he's just so smooth, and that's going to be enough for them to grasp the victory. Mello even taking third place as well, just to secure it. And it was a fight put up by Air Red. Again, I mean, an 11-9 map 2, but ultimately Air Green. Both maps have been very close, but Air Green getting it done when it mattered. Some clutch moments from them throughout this series so far, and it puts them onto match points heading into map number 3.
Ooh, parkour. Okay, parkour. Let's see. I don't know. I'm of not split opinion. I don't know. I don't really know what I think about parkour, because it has played spoiler to so many people's runs before, especially the full version of the identity. I feel like people don't quite have as many issues with the easy version of it. It's still, it's still no joke by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't know.
Well, Razgriz in chat asking Air Green why they picked this map, and Mannix's response was, "I panicked."
Hey, at least
Fair
he's
enough.
honest.
Fair enough. Have you ever done that? I don't know if you play any other if you play like League or anything like that. If you're not paying attention during like Champion Select or something, and you have like 3 seconds to pick, you just panic pick something, and it's the one character you've never played before. That happens to me. I do that. I space out during that stuff. I wonder if that's what happened here, and he panic picked this map. But right now, I don't think it's really going to matter. Look at Mello and Mannix side by side into the identity. Can they open up with an ace? No, Mannix goes off track. Mello will cross the line first. Razgriz sneaks across the line that time in second. It will be a 2-point earner for Air Green, and Air Red will have to settle for just one.
Just one indeed, man. Just time and time again, parkour. Playing spoiler. It's a tricky one. It's not as tricky as actually, ooh, dare I say that? Not as tricky as freestyle. It's definitely difficult, but I don't know. I feel like I just see
you can say that. I mean, that's
consistently-
your job is to say stuff.
Yeah, but
I don't know
like,
if you're right.
whether I can say it with conviction. How about that? Whether I mean what I say, whether there's any like substance behind it. There's rarely any substance behind what I say. I don't even know why I'm here right now, but
Oh man, I mean, the identities in this season have been so good. I've loved just about every track that we have, and it's unfortunate we don't get to see all of them all the time. But I have a feeling that this is going to be a legendary season. Did Mel respawn? I know he clipped the wall, but he just decided to respawn, and Mannix makes a mistake. Now all of a sudden, it's an ace potential for Air Red. Oh, Razgriz is so far wide, hits the tree. He's gonna double respawn. Mello will take second. Mannix is so far back, and it's going to be Razgriz in third. So everybody outside of Henry's struggling to get through the identity this time. Why not? Let's tie it up 3-3.
I was gonna say, look at that. After all that chaos, oh look, it's 3-3. It's like nothing ever happened. Might as well just make it 0-0, first to 7. Why not?
Wow.
Oh boy, parkour takes no prisoners, man. It's like I may have been singing the anti-praises of freestyle and its difficulty, but parkour is no joke.
No, it is one of the identities that I certainly struggled with the most when learning the tracks and everything like that. And there was a clip back there by Mannix through that ice section. Mello is going to have to put in a good amount of work here. He doesn't really have the speed coming out of the bobsleigh, and he's going to go way wide into the dirt. That's going to give Razgriz and Henry a little bit of space, but Mello's still trying to keep up. It is going to come down to this identity. Nice play there. Is Razgriz too far wide again? He is. Mello is going to take second. Mannix is super far behind, but Razgriz needs to get through the identity. Got to hold it together, and he will. He'll take third, so there's another 2 points for Air Red.
Victory.
And my goodness, this is causing a lot of chaos between these players. I have seen a lot of errors in the dirt section leading up to the identity, and if you just don't have the speed, I mean, you don't have the speed.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch. It's almost like I don't know. I know a lot of people early on used to say that like it doesn't even matter what happens during the first 90% of the map. It like all comes down to the identity. And I think over time, the map design has definitely gotten away from that, and that it's definitely challenging all the way through, and then the identity is just like extra challenging. But here in a bubble in this specific matchup between Airs Green and Red, they've been relatively good until they get to the identity, and then all bets are off. Even if someone is like 6 seconds in the rear, it doesn't even matter. Mello P1, Henry P2, and Razgriz and Mannix going at it. Mannix is way back at the dirt, Razgris clobbering
Wow.
his way through that identity, and it is a draw. And see, yet again, after all of this kind of back and forth, the chaos further back, it still winds up in not much of an advantage for either team. Air Red still technically ahead by 1 point, but just barely.
Yeah. I mean, Mannix, just watching him clip that outside wall of the dirt section, and then, I mean, he I guess decided to delay the respawn, hoping he had enough speed to make the initial jump, and unfortunately just didn't. So that's why, you just switch to him, and he seems like he's half the track behind. It's just because of the way the respawn works and how the identity works here. And it can be tough to come back from. Ooh, Razgris, not the greatest jump there. He ends up actually kind of ramp cutting it a little bit, and he couldn't get the landing right. So now Henru, he's got to try to catch up here. Mannix, does he stay off the wall this time? That's a pretty good line. Mello as well. And it's going to be Air Green looking for the ace to give themselves the lead on this track. Mannix first through the identity. Mello second. Henru can't get there. And it's an ace for Air Green. Fortunes flipping now, and a potential sweep on the table for the green side.
8-6 from 5 to 8. Wow. Yeah, this, I don't know that I necessarily would have predicted this. Henru and Razgris are fantastic players, and we saw Mello and Mannix struggling a little bit earlier. Now, to be fair, it was against Damascus, so, anybody has the right to struggle against that team. But, man, 8-6 with Air Green, or rather with Air Red staring down the barrel of the possibility of being swept out of the lower bracket is definitely not something I would have imagined. Look at this now, that early mistake from Razgris. And Mannix and Mello are just in a comfortable ace setup right now. Henru trying desperately to catch up.
The silver lining is that this section has been the hardest for Air Green, and Mannix again gonna make a mistake. He's completely stopped on the track. Mello will maintain P1 as he begins the identity up and over. He'll cross the line at first. Henry will take second. If Razgris can finish this out, as he's going to double respawn, it will be a draw. There he goes, and it keeps Air Red in it. Again, Mannix continues to struggle with this dirt line, and it's given Air Red a bit of hope. I mean, an ace, we saw it before. We saw it in the last series, right? An ace can steal this track for Air Red if they can find it.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I have faith. I don't know. You're right. Mannix, especially Mannix, has struggled a lot with that dirt section uphill just before the start of the identity, but I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily have faith. Razgris with the booty tap on the wall. Not too bad of a slowdown there. So technically still in it with a shot, but with P2 and 4 respectively for the two Air Red players, they need to basically need nothing shy of a miracle here. Mannix needs to tap that outside wall. He will not. Neither will Mello. Henru has it all to do.
There they go into the identity. Mannix just needs to make it to the line, and he does. The prayer was sent up by Air Red. The Trackmania gods say no dice, and that will be Air Green. A 3-0 sweep over their Chilean counterparts in Air Red, and they are into day number 2 for the second regional in a row, this time through the lower bracket. And we will see tomorrow if they can replicate their top 4 finish in the NCSA regional number 2. GGs to both teams.
Yeah, that is Air Red into the quarterfinals for day 2. That's the start of all of the best of 7. So their lifelines have been extended just a little bit more, and I believe, I can't remember what the amounts are, but I believe now everybody has gotten themselves at least 1 or 2 World Tour points. So that is also something to keep in mind. It helps them potentially qualify for the wild card spot for the World Championships. It helps them get closer to the All-Star invitations, the qualifications for that. The further you go, the better your chances are for making it big further down the road.
Well, Leechy, it has been a fun day today. I don't know. Do we have any matchups that you wanted to jump into? I don't think we can see them necessarily.
We do not,
I don't know
unfortunately.
if there are any others. Okay.
I do believe that has that with that match, our evening and everybody else's evening in chat has in fact come to an end.
Well, with that, folks, we thank you so very much for watching. It has been a fantastic day number one. We saw some crazy finishes. We saw some excellent matchups, and we have seen a lot of Trackmania today, all day long, from MEA Regional to, obviously, CL Day today. You've got Grand League tomorrow. You've got Day 2 of the NCSA Regional tomorrow as well. You're not going to want to miss any of that. It will certainly be a fantastic day. Make sure you're following the channel here. And, we'll see you at the same time. Well, actually, it'll be a little bit earlier. It should be a little bit earlier, 4 p.m. Eastern, with no delays or anything, of course, from any other happenings around the scene. But before we go, Leechy, big thank you to you. Big thank you to everybody else who has worked so diligently. Again, big shout out to SRK. I think he is very much on his way to sleep at the moment. I do not blame him. It was quite a long day for him. But anything that you want to say before we send it on?
It is a jam-packed weekend of Trackmania, and I know that folks in the U.S., I'm sure will have one eye on the TV for the Super Bowl, but hopefully you can train that other eye to separate and watch your computer monitor to keep an eye on the world of Trackmania, because it is not going anywhere anytime soon, and we're looking to grow those viewership numbers ever so steadily. So yeah, keep it trained on this channel tomorrow.
Well, with that, folks, we will see you then. Will Damascus Gaming be able to make it 2 in a row? You're only going to be able to find out by tuning in to this channel. 4 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it. I've been Hunted. He's been Leechy. We thank you so much for watching. We'll see you then.